I'm okay. I just smoked another to the face, yeah. She wanna stay. Singing to your bitch like I was Drake, yeah.
Don't just try to tell me you love me. Can't keep it real if you really don't trust me. Come with a real, you up in the front, so you get my meals. I'm gunning for the money in the bank. Coming with a dank, scrolling in a tank, rolling with the gang. You sitting out on the sideline tripping. I go to the hole with the rock like Pippin.
Yeah. I'm okay.
What up, though, and welcome to World of Heavyweights live on WorldSports.com. I'm your boy Eazy, joined my guy Spin More Rax.
What up, though?
Young Chris Nicholas Kohloff.
Let's go.
What?
Just the Chris stuff.
Yeah.
I literally thought that was fake. It was so wild. Yeah. Shout out to Braylon. Did Braylon just get his hair braided here?
Yeah.
Lady James braids hair?
Yeah. Your girl
What?
Mariah.
Huh?
Your girl Mariah.
Oh, shit. I'm at the girl on my dress, my hair. Okay. Smash that like button, be a friend, tell a friend, and share the stream. We're going to talk about it. We will. We have its own segment. We're going to be joined by Max Boltman to speak about it. The tweets.
I was going to say, it's years ago.
Whoa. What's up? I was just trolling you with that one.
I know.
Actually, you know what? I do got some beef with you to settle before we
Yeah.
get to any of that.
Let's do it.
Or should we give the Tigers their due time? Because that did just...
We suck again.
I know you're hurt
Oh,
over
no. We suck again. Yeah, Spencer Torkelson might need to get sent down.
it. What?
Yeah.
You think so?
He might need to. Like, it's a little bit in his head at this point. I mean, he had another hit, but, like, I don't know. That might be a little aggressive on my part. But,
I love you fixing your hair.
yeah, it looks stupid.
You're like, yeah, I should get my shit braided too.
Looks great.
No, he obviously had a couple bad
Should get my
errors
shit locked up.
to give up a run and then strikes out in an attempt to score or to get that run back in the eighth inning. That was tough. It was tough, man. Tough day for the boys. Tough loss. Played good enough to win, but unfortunately took the L.
It's crazy too because I mean the Rangers are, by all accounts, it's still a good baseball team. No, I mean, it's not looking that way since this series.
No.
They have 2 guys out.
Yeah.
Okay, who are they missing?
Well, they actually have 4 guys out. Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom, 2 Hall of Fame pitchers. But when it comes to the
Jacob
bats,
deGrom never pitches.
Josh Young, Jace Young's brother,
Yeah.
who's really good.
All right, well then maybe these don't feel as good.
Well, no, they still have all of their most important players outside of Max Scherzer. Like Jacob deGrom never pitches anymore. He's always hurt, so you can't really count that as, oh, they're missing that guy. They signed him. He never pitches. They have all the hitters that really make their team great. They have all their big bats still in this lineup, and the Tigers are doing a great job of holding them down.
Yeah, I just saw the post game, and I'm not even like because I know I've been giving him a hard time on the hitting, and that's mainly just because of like the hype behind him. I feel so bad after watching him that post game interview. He looked like he was about to cry.
Yeah.
Like no cap, the kid was.
I didn't see it. Torque
Looked like they were welling up a little bit there.
Torque?
He blew
Yeah.
it, man. He blew it, and he knows it. You can't have errors like that. He's a fantastic fielder at first base, so
That's the part you couldn't talk shit about him.
yeah. When you're not hitting, you can't be doing that either. So
Yeah, I'm at the point with Torque where AJ has kind of babied him throughout his first 3 years in the majors, or first 2 years, and like given him like the benefit of the doubt. I'm kind of thinking, are we at the point of a public call out from AJ? Like Torque needs to be better because he is supposed to be our main dog. He was 1-1. He broke Barry Bonds' record for home runs at Arizona State. This dude is supposed to be a top of the line. Like you think about old Jose Abreu from the White Sox, or you think about Pete Alonso on the Mets. Like he's supposed to be an all-star first baseman, and we are just not getting anything close to that.
That's what I've been asking for. But I understand that things that heat up. I understand he was young. But at this point, it's just not going to look so great. How'd Riley Green do?
he had a couple walks. Did he get a hit? Did he end up getting a hit? I know he walked. It's tough, man. I mean, fucking, I'm done with it. Fire those bullshit ass hitting coaches. That's what it is. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're not doing your job. Like, get them out of here. Goodbye.
John Beeline.
Yeah. Like, honestly, but obviously Parker Meadows had a home run. His like third hit of the season. Congrats, buddy. You ran into one. Like, you're not an MLB player. I'm sorry. Goodbye. Your brother was a sad boy, and now you are just like, dude. I'm so over this Tigers bullshit offense, man. It's bad. It's hard to watch. Javi Baez is being a Javi, doing Javi things. Like, I'm so over this Tigers offense, man. They need to change some things up. But speaking of what Nick says, Hinch isn't going to call out Torque. That's not what he does. It's not his thing. It's not his style. He's not going to go in the media and say, this guy needs to be better, because he knows he needs to be better. Calling him out to the media does nothing. Spencer Torkelson knows he shouldn't not have a home run right now. He knows he shouldn't make 2 errors in 1 inning to give up the lead. He knows he shouldn't be hitting like abysmal in the MLB. He knows he needs to be better, so calling him out to the media doesn't do anything. Just embarrasses the guy and probably makes it worse.
What if he feeds off that, though? That's my thing. Like, we've seen it go the other way, where he clearly can't hit right now, and I think maybe like a little motivation or something. I mean, obviously he wants to do better, but maybe it's a mental switch, you know? I mean,
baseball's like 90% mental. Like, it's so.
Minty's right.
That's why I was maybe. I can't say it again.
Me sit down.
Maybe. Maybe you need to send him down so he can put the bat on a couple balls and feel good about himself for a little bit.
He wasn't doing well in spring training.
Yeah, he was not doing well in spring training.
Yeah.
I have no answer for it, guys. I really don't. I am the newcomer.
Justin Henry Malloy and Jace Young. Get them ready. I think Jace Young already has 8 extra base hits in Toledo.
Let's go.
So let's go. Let's rock. Let's bring.
I'm here for it.
I'm down for any fresh faces.
So
at this
if
point.
he got, so Malloy would take over first base in that situation.
MPWMU says
he usually plays outfield, but
says Torque should be given a swirly on live TV by Hinch.
yes.
I don't know about all that. That's what Nick wants. Nick wants
I want blood.
Nick wants him to get bullied on live television. But
who takes over first base in that situation?
Anybody, like,
I'm sure we could
put anybody there.
That's like the one position.
A warm body. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think McKinstry can play first. I'm pretty sure Veerlin can play first. I don't know, man. It's just tough to watch. They're not going to send him down unless it gets really, really bad. But it's already pretty bad.
It is pretty bad. You know what's pretty bad? The Blake Griffin era. All right. I know he officially retired.
Let me talk to him.
But and I love my guy Booner. Like that's the homie. All right. I known him a long time in his pursuit to do this. But he shot out the tweet. It was like a farewell. Not a farewell, but like a happy retirement with a couple like Blake Griffin highlights. Can we stop trying to pretend like those were glory days? Like those were glory day.
Better than we've seen since the going to work Pistons. Exactly. The best Pistons we've seen since the going to work Pistons.
It's not good. Still not good.
Nobody's.
Like,
Where's the energy of Cade Cunningham?
What do you mean the energy of Cade Cunningham?
He's 32 and 106 in his career.
It's fine. He's just getting started. This is like year 2 for him. But I'm not reliving this season as if it was like, oh man, I wish I could live that season over again.
That's why it's embarrassing. That's why. Because we don't have anything else to put ahead of those Blake Griffin years.
He's also like it's essentially his sophomore season. Like I can't compare that to what Blake Griffin was coming into this situation.
Yeah, you're right, because Blake Griffin was an all-NBA player when he was in Detroit.
Exactly. Coming to Detroit as that.
And he did that in Detroit. He had his statistically best season in Detroit.
Statistically, if you're a good player on a bad team, you're going to put up some pretty good fucking
numbers.
numbers.
And what he was doing and his efficiency and his shooting percentage, the best basketball that Blake Griffin has ever played in his career was in a Pistons jersey.
On a bad team, your numbers are going to be better than they were if you were able to share the ball with other players.
A better team than we've had. Easy. Nobody's sitting here like, oh, Blake Griffin a statue in Detroit, but it was at least the most fun year of the last decade when Blake Griffin was averaging better numbers than Cade Cunningham, by the way, 24, 7, and 5, like on more efficiency than Cade. So again, I don't get what this like negativeness is to it, because I don't think anybody's saying build a statue for Blake. I don't think anybody's saying Blake is an all-time Piston. They're just saying, you know what was fun? Having a guy who was one of the 15 best players in the NBA was fun. Mm-hmm. That's what you hope Cade Cunningham will be. That's what you want this team to build around. You want this team to have more success than that. But at the end of the day, in the last decade, what was more fun? Was this season more fun than that season?
No,
this is the worst season.
Exactly.
No. Last
so
season
what are we
more
doing?
fun than that season? No.
This doesn't make the Blake
Was Cade's
Griffin
rookie season
fun.
more fun than that
I
season?
did not have fun losing games with Blake Griffin. I'm sorry. Am I the only person that did enjoy losing? Like
I don't understand why you're. What are you holding on to that's better than that?
I'm not. I didn't enjoy.
Would you rather see Blake Griffin or what we saw this year?
Neither. I don't like losing.
What do you mean neither?
You're talking about losing and losing.
We're talking about
this
making
year
the
was
playoffs.
the worst.
We're talking about making the playoffs or being the worst team in the NBA for a multiple year stretch.
Bro, I don't even count. Like, everyone holds on to that. I don't give a fuck about making the playoffs.
Then why were you so upset when the Red Wings lost?
We fucking dragged the corpse as an 8 seed just to get swept.
Then why were you so upset when the Red Wings lost last night?
If
just making the playoffs to lose doesn't matter, then who cares if the Red Wings lost last night?
Because the Red Wings actually probably would have won a game.
Maybe.
Something.
Probably not if they played New York.
By the way, hockey in general, you have much more of a chance of beating somebody than you do in NBA. NBA, you see the top seeds defeating the smaller teams every single time. The play, it's a great idea. I'm not reaching. I am not reaching. What do you fucking mean? The NBA is a talent-driven league. That's why when you grab a couple guys, you put them on one team. If it fits, I will say that. If it fits, it usually fucking works. It's the reason why the Lakers didn't. They're the first team to not make the playoff and beat a lottery and then go to the NBA Finals because guess what? They grabbed the pieces and they played.
You're reaching.
It's totally different. I'm not.
In terms of making this comparison, like you make this as like an all-out championship or bust thing, and unfortunately, the Pistons' seasons the last decade plus have been horrendous.
I'm not even talking about championship or bust. They made the playoffs and got swept, and they weren't even 500.
But it was
a losing season. I didn't enjoy losing basketball.
It's better than winning 14 games. I'd take that 10 times out of 10 of the bullshit product we saw this year, last year, and the year before that. Any day of the fucking week. This Pistons era, this Troy Weaver era has been complete dog shit. At least the Blake Griffin Pistons won some games and made the playoffs. I'm not saying, like Chris said, nobody's saying build him a statue. He's one of the Pistons' greats. No, but he's better than the worst basketball I've ever seen in my entire life.
Nick?
Shout out Blake for the 50-point game and
one
against Joel Embiid. Buzzer beater. That was a highlight of the Blake era in my eyes. But I will never get past that. The pick that we gave up is MVP contender SGA, and if you
is that on Blake Griffin? Is that Blake Griffin's fault?
No,
it's not. But I'm not pretending it was the fucking glory days. Like I can't.
In the past 20 years, it was.
In any era, I don't enjoy losing basketball. I just don't. I'm
sorry. Don't watch
the
Pistons ever again. Then you haven't watched the Pistons game since 2007.
So what about when the Lions got to playoffs and lost? Again,
but
did
they
you not have
500? They actually won games to get there. It's not the same at all.
The Pistons were 500 or one game
500
under.
500 on the dot, 41-41.
Okay,
it was losing basketball.
Okay, and guess what? That is 10 times better than what they did this year.
Yeah. That's fine, but I'm not reliving that as my glory years. I'm sorry, I got to witness a championship basketball. I got to witness the Pistons win an NBA championship. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that was fucking something to reminisce about.
It's better than what we've seen. The guy retired. You can pay homage to him doing that. You don't have to be, Blake Griffin's nothing. No, he's better than anything we've seen in the past 15 years from the Pistons, and it's not even close.
I got 2 meals for you. Would you like this lighter shade of shit, or would you like this darker shade of shit?
I like the lighter shade of shit, because it'll go down easier.
You're eating shit either way.
So you don't watch the Pistons?
Shit.
You haven't watched the Pistons the past 5 years?
Brother, I didn't say anything about watching them. I said I don't enjoy losing basketball.
Loving Kate Cunningham and all the. What has he done? He's done nothing but lose for the Pistons.
His sophomore season, Blake Griffin came here as an All-NBA player, just as you said.
And he was an All-NBA player for the Pistons and made the playoffs.
We sacrificed our future and set this team even further back to acquire him.
And is that his fault, or is it the dumbass Tom Gores?
Brother, it doesn't make it the glory fucking days.
It does in recent history.
I enjoy losing basketball games.
It does in recent history.
It does not. Losing basketball is losing basketball.
Is that the best Pistons we've seen since the going to work Pistons? Yes or no?
No.
So what's better?
When they made it and got swept by the Cavs.
Oh, so now getting
record.
Swept in the first round matters.
No,
losing basketball is good.
You sound stupid right now because that's not the question you asked me. You asked me the best basketball since you're going to work Pistons, and I gave you an answer.
It's not.
Now it's
cool.
Why
is that one better? Why is that one better?
Because you asked, what is the best basketball since the glory days?
And now I'm asking you.
That was the best basketball since the glory days.
Why is it better?
They won more games. They were more competitive.
They were more competitive, but they got
games.
swept in the first round too, so it's the same thing.
Brother, you asked the question, right? You asked.
Yes.
Easy. Then I answered it.
And I'm telling you, it's the same exact thing by your standards. If you get swept in the first round either way, what's the difference?
And that's fair. But again, I'm not going to relive the Blake Griffin days as the glory days. I'm not pretending it was fucking, that was awesome.
Nobody
time.
is easy. I think what's happening is you're falling to the Twitter bullshit. You're falling to the Twitter bullshit of there are probably some kids that think like that Blake Griffin era was lit, but no, rationally speaking, nobody's saying easy that this was historic for Pistons. The Pistons should look back on that with pride. But you know what? In the last 10 years, you do look back on it as pride because the other years have been shit.
No, I don't look back on that as pride. I don't. I'm sorry that I cherish I can only cherish winning basketball. That's just where it's at. I guess.
So if they don't win a championship, it means nothing. It doesn't matter.
They win a fucking playoff game, something. I'm not gonna fucking. Oh man, was that fucking awesome when we lost? Was that sweet when we got swept? Like, no, bro. I'm sorry.
Wasn't
That's
it
just not
cool
me.
when we won more than 14 games
a difference
in
of
a season?
personalities. I don't enjoy losing products.
Nobody likes losing products. Nobody wants to get swept in the first round. But I'd rather get swept in the first round than win 14 games in a season, and I don't think that's crazy to say.
Yeah. And again, keep that same energy with the Wings. Would you have kept that same energy with the Wings? No, you wouldn't have. You would have talked about how fun they are.
Brother,
if they got swept.
Two different scenarios.
But if they got
that we
swept,
just beat last night
but
were in
if
the
they
fucking
got
Stanley
swept.
Cup Finals like 2 years ago. Like anything can happen in hockey. It's not the same with basketball. When a 1 seed faces a fucking 8 seed in basketball, what are we doing?
Last year, Milwaukee lost.
Didn't Milwaukee lose
Milwaukee
to an 8
lost
seed
last year. Miami Heat,
when
8 seed that
Giannis
went
got
all
hurt,
the way to
Miami
the
Heat,
finals.
Did Giannis get hurt?
Yeah, but they still beat
Okay,
a 1
is it
seed.
the same thing?
And guess what they did, Eazy?
Like, no shit.
They
you won,
continued
the
to beat
best player of the
healthy
team is
teams
hurt.
and get all the way to the finals.
Huh?
They continued to beat healthy teams and get all the way to the finals.
From a play-in team.
They went through a healthy Philly. They went through a healthy Boston. They got to the finals.
You talking about the Miami situation?
Yes.
Can we all agree and at least understanding that like NBA players are coast and then make the playoffs and they turn it on? I mean, LeBron is notorious for that. I'm not going to compare the NBA. You to try to throw the Red Wings in there as if it's equivalent or the same is not at all. Hockey is actually competitive from the 1 seed to the 8 seed. It could be that way.
It can, but it can also be a sweep. The Red Wings could have got dominated.
4-time Stanley Cup
Spencer.
champion will sit here and tell you number one thing in playoff hockey, puck luck. Because that's the thing. NBA is not. The 1 seed smashes the 8 seed every single time.
Except for last year when an 8 seed made the finals.
Were they an 8 seed?
They were a
Yes,
play-in
they
team.
were
They were
a
a
play-in
play-in
team
right.
that got to the 8th seed and won the Eastern Conference.
So nobody's saying it is the greatest era of basketball that the Pistons have ever seen, but it's a lot better than what we've gotten recently. And I would 10 times out of 10 rather watch Blake Griffin basketball than the shit we've got in the past 5
Absolutely.
years.
It's the worst
because
Pistons
that shit is
season of all time.
embarrassing.
But I'm just not reliving his glory days. That's all I'm saying.
No,
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
think
pretend like
anybody
it was
is.
fucking awesome.
It's a lot better than what we've seen lately, and I'd rather watch that.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch them win 40 games in a season and lose in the first round than win 14 games in a season.
Yeah.
No one should ever have to watch that. That's embarrassing and disgusting.
I was embarrassed to even make that playoff.
You're embarrassing to make that playoffs.
I was embarrassed to make that. I was pissed. I would have rather been in the lottery that following season, by far.
So you're good now where we're at with the Pistons because they're in the lottery.
You try to spin shit. And
I don't understand.
And I don't want to shit on you like that, but it just doesn't even make sense the way you try to spin it. Like you say shit that doesn't correlate to what was previously said at all.
You just said you
And
were embarrassed
and
to
you
make the
twist yourself
playoffs.
backwards
You
from
were
the previous
embarrassed
statement you
for them
made.
to make the playoffs. You'd rather have them in the lottery that Blake Griffin year.
Yes, I would have rather been in the lottery.
So
Blake
right
Griffin.
now, this year,
There was
they're in the lottery. You'd rather have them
Pistons
in the
team
lottery this year
had
than in the
no
playoffs?
business being in the playoffs that season.
Blake Griffin carried them. That's the business they had, was him willing
Being a
them into
top
the playoffs.
20 player, a top 15 player in the NBA.
Is that not true?
No, they fucking backpedaled. The Eastern Conference was absolute fucking garbage. No, they should had no business being in the playoff. I'd have rather taken the lottery pick and build towards actually fucking winning basketball than just to get swept in the fucking first round of the playoffs for no reason.
We've been trying to build towards winning basketball for 5 years, and we've had the worst basketball we've ever had.
And that's fine. That still doesn't change the fact that I would have rather gotten the lottery pick than fucking make the playoff.
I thought you liked winning, though.
It wasn't winning. They didn't win. They weren't above 500.
They
won
won 40
more.
They didn't win a
games.
single fucking game.
It's more than 40 games. It's more than 14.
They didn't win a single. No, they weren't. They were 500 on the fucking dot. They didn't win a single game in the playoffs. What are you talking about? That's not winning.
Would you rather win
I'd
40
rather
games
grab
in
a
a season
piece-
or 14?
Huh?
It's more winning than we've seen.
Exactly.
That one
I
season,
would
he had
rather-
more wins
no.
than Cade Cunningham's
I have an
10
answer
years.
for you. I would rather be back in the fucking lottery because my team can't win more than 41 games than I had no business being in the fucking playoffs.
All right, that's
Go
fair.
get yourself a piece and go and contribute to winning.
I can't watch any more basketball than what we've seen the past 3 years. I can't. It's embarrassing, disgusting, and shouldn't be accepted.
No one's saying that. You're trying to make that a comparison thing versus Blake Griffin thing. No, I'm just saying I'm not reliving.
But no one's
talking
saying
about
glory days
the
either,
losing ass
Eazy.
Pistons with Blake Griffin as if it was like fucking.
So if
like
this year the Pistons
glory
could have
days.
gotten into the playoffs and get swept in the first round, you would rather have them be in the lottery than that.
Yeah.
No.
Towards actually winning.
No,
For the
you would
younger-
have. You would have
that
loved
younger
this
players
young
out.
Even in a
team
drought.
getting there. You would have loved it.
Yeah, the young players
Context
development.
matters to that question for sure, but
But let me tell you about Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness is the home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all that for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by, more than 50 in Metro Detroit, and thousands more throughout the world. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
The BGCSM 3C Sports Conference is coming during NFL Draft Week, starting on April 24th. Special guests will include Jerome Bettis, Barry Sanders, Eddie George, Aleem McNeil, Calvin Johnson Jr., Sean H. Wilson, Cynthia Freeland, Adam Scheffner, and more. This event is open to athletes, coaches, and parents, but space is limited. So go to our website and purchase your tickets today at www.bgcsm.org.
Are you tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch? It's a new era in sports wearables. Amazing design, amazing appeal, the ultimate swag. Head over to Woodward Sports, click the shop tab today. You'll see they got hoodies, tees, hats, all guaranteed to turn heads. So head on over to Woodward Sports, click the shop tab today, and get yourself some brand new merch.
What up, and welcome back to World Heavyweights Live, WorldSports.com. I'm your boy Eazy, joined my guys from Raxter, Young Chris, Nicholas Kohloff. Smash that like button, be a friend, tell a friend, and share the stream.
What up, though?
What up, though?
Are we muted?
Oh, we are?
No, I heard you.
I can't hear you.
Is my mic messed up?
You guys are for sure live on air, and the mics are working.
Maybe speak. Can you hear me now?
No, but it's all right.
The Detroit Red Wings won, but lost a playoff berth last night due to the Capitals defeating the Philadelphia Flyers. I guess, Spinny, where were you? What were your reactions?
I was at home. I was watching it. It was amazing. I jumped up screaming, obviously, when David Perron scored that goal with 3 seconds left to tie the game and put it into overtime. And then those bums in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, you're a shit city. You're a shit fan base. You have poverty franchises, and you deserve nothing. Philadelphia Flyers are an absolute joke of a franchise. You guys fucking suck. You deserve nothing. You're dog shit. I hate all of you. And, Rocky sucks. Cheesesteaks are overrated. Fuck you, Philadelphia. We ask you for one goddamn thing and you can't do it. So, yeah, that is my basic reaction. Philly sucks. Red Wings did everything they could except for, win earlier in the season to make sure they didn't have to worry about this. But the Patrick Kane sad shootout winner was...
Dude, what a savage he is,
just,
bro. It was the mopiest.
Yeah, just the mopiest, nonchalant, dangle snipe, and then just doesn't even celebrate and skates off.
Man, that was crazy.
It sucks, man. It sucks. I hate Gary Bettman. Gary Bettman, you're a fucking joke. The way hockey... Neil talked about how they reward people for losing in overtime, but overtime wins mean nothing.
So I'm sorry to even admit this, but I just learned that last night. I thought overtime wins, you got an extra point.
No, overtime wins are the same. No, but yeah, you get 2 points winning the game.
Yeah, but in overtime, you get 3 if the loser's getting 1.
If you go into overtime, you split the 2 points, and then the winner gets the extra point. That I'm cool with, but the way that the first tiebreaker, which is what happened with us in Washington, is regulation wins. It's not total wins.
Yeah.
So Washington has more regulation wins than us, even though we have more total wins than the Washington Capitals. So we won more games and have the same amount of points, but they made the playoffs over us. That makes no sense. That's just stupid.
It is stupid. But
ridiculous.
on April 9th, we had our opportunity to beat them. and once more on the 26th too of March. Like, there's just so many opportunities. Obviously, any game you could have called out, and if we win, we're in. But that one sucked. I mean, it sucked even worse the fashion it went down. 3 seconds to go.
Oh my god!
And you make the goal. Nick and I were dapping up. What was his name? Mike.
I don't.
We met up with Nick's dad. You had that video, Chris, of Nick's dad last night?
Yeah, the video.
Nick's dad. Nick,
No,
you don't know your
this
dad's
is-
name?
This is not my dad. It's not my dad.
You're
That
not
is
my
not
dad.
my dad.
That's not Nick's dad. That's just a nice guy we met last night during the Red Wings game who really love you and D Mercy. Wouldn't stop gassing up you and D Mercy. That was wild.
That was ridiculous. The thing about this Red Wings like team and just season, fellas, it's all on them. You can't go through these stretches and put yourself in a position where it's not up to you to actually make it to the playoffs. Like, it's so disappointing. I go back to that overtime game against the Pens, and like, it was just such a heartbreaker. DeBrincat just completely whiffing on a puck. They had come down, score, and that was the 1 point that you needed to get in. But you think about the Capitals game where you're at home in a must-win, and you basically get shut out. I think we scored with like 10 seconds left.
Yeah, and they dominated them. Like, I'm not going to hold that game specifically against them too bad because they dominated the Capitals for 58 minutes of that game. They won that game. They just got goalied. And when I look at it, yeah, you gotta cash in. The games that hurt you the most were the games against the Coyotes, the games against the Sabres, the winnable games if you're a playoff team, and you let those points slip away from you. If the way I look at it, if you had a goaltender who is a legitimate number one goaltender on an NHL team, you are in the playoffs. Because if you had a goalie that you're comfortable with putting out there for getting you 30 wins, you're way ahead of these teams. So that is the one thing for me is hockey season, a hockey team of the Red Wings caliber is peaks and valleys. They're not a complete team yet. They are a 500 team, and they played 500 hockey on this year. So unfortunately, they lost when they needed it the most. But if you had a goalie, a good goalie all year, you're easily in the playoffs.
With that being said, Spenny, is it okay to look at Yzerman for the reason that this
No,
team
he drafted
help?
two
He
goalies
drafted
in
a
the
goal-
future.
Yeah, come on, guys. Come
I'm
on.
asking the question at the deadline. You didn't go out and address it.
Nobody's trading a play. No playoff team, no team is trading a one goalie. If you have a great goalie, you're not trading him at the deadline. That doesn't happen. That's like quarterbacks don't get traded in the NFL at the deadline. You don't trade your goalie at the deadline. So Yzerman drafted his guys. He's got his two goalies ready to come up. And unfortunately, they're not ready yet.
The one difference opinion I have is, like, the games specifically against the Capitals and the Penguins were huge games for the Detroit Red Wings to win and control their destiny, and they didn't. Yeah. I get that any win versus the Coyotes and literally anybody throughout the season would have made a difference as well. But, like, those were direct ones where you could have just got one over on the other team, just point blank, and it had been done with. But it is what it is, man. They didn't make it. We will be joined by Max Boltman when we return. But first, tell us about Lady Jane's.
Let me tell you about Lady Jane's, because awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That is what Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men did. You could stop in, sit back, relax, and let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you and catch Woodward Sports Network live from Feldman Chevrolet of Novi every other Monday. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
What up, and welcome back to World Heavyweights live on WorldSports.com. I'm Eazy at Spinmo Rex. We got young Chris, Nicholas Kohloff, and of course, as promised, we are joined by the one and only of the Athletic official Detroit Red Wings beat reporter, Max Boltman. What up, man? Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, fellas, my pleasure. How you doing?
Still grieving a little bit.
Yeah, still working on it. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, it certainly has been a wild ride to the finish here, and it was as entertaining a stretch of hockey as I have seen in Detroit in my time on the beat, which started pretty much when the bottom out was happening in 2018. So I think it was a really fun ride, and I think there's certainly a lot to write about now going forward into the offseason.
And I'm gonna start with some great stuff, with some happy stuff to kind of lighten the mood a little bit, because we saw Lucas Raymond become him this year. Like, he took that leap where he led the team in goals. He's out there making plays. He's scoring the big goals in the biggest moments on the season, other than David Perron. But when you look at what he became this year after kind of a step back in his sophomore season, is this what we expect Lucas Raymond to be going forward now, is to be that one winger on this team that's going to snipe the puck in the back of the net?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, the goal scoring is great. You look at the shooting percentage and maybe you say, okay, is that a little bit higher than is fair to expect? But I think he's also going to shoot the puck a lot more going forward. I think that was the biggest takeaway down the stretch, is this guy became a go-to guy. And that's what the Red Wings needed him to be. They needed him to not just be a skill player who could, make the play when it's easy. They needed him to be a guy who could get to the net and score the hard goal when the games matter the most. That's the most impressive thing I'm going to take away. Obviously, Dylan Larkin's still going to be a huge driver of this team. I think he ends the year with 33 goals, Larkin does, which edges out Raymond. But I think by next year, you could see Raymond pushing him there. He already led the team in overall points this year, like you said, partly because Larkin was injured. So I think going forward, that's your 1-2 punch up top. And that's a big development, right? Like, especially for him, to the way he did it, to round out his game, to get more physical. These are the kind of things the Red Wings absolutely needed to see from Lucas Raymond this year. And they did. And that's one of the reasons they were really happy to play these meaningful late season games, is you just don't know what a guy's going to look like in those situations until he's there. Now we do with Lucas Raymond.
And looking at it, he helped himself, because he is in a contract year now. So that's got to be one of the priority number ones for the Red Wings, is to re-sign Lucas Raymond. I put it out there that I would like to see like 8 and 8 if they can get that done. 8 years, $8 million a pop. What's your realistic contract evaluation for a guy like Lucas Raymond?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think you're in the right ballpark there, right? The question is on the term. Can you get him for 8 years? And if you can do it at $8 million, I think you do that, right? Like, I think the comp there would be like the Jack Hughes contract. Mm-hmm. The other ones that they're going to look at, Tim Stützle got 8.3 something at 8 years in Ottawa. Same draft class, really high production in his own right. He's a center. I think kind of the ballpark, though, is right around what you're talking about on an 8-year deal. They may not be able to do an 8-year deal. Maybe it's 6 years, 7 years, and that drops the AAB a little bit. But I think if I'm the Red Wings, I'm trying to lock this guy up as long as possible, because I don't think the point totals are going down for Lucas Raymond. But I think they're just going to keep going up, and I'd want him locked in at a number as soon as possible.
Yeah, speaking about locking guys in, you also got Seider. Maybe you want to bring back Kane. I guess, what are some of your predictions for these contracts this upcoming season in terms of guys who are going to come back?
Seider is going to be a fascinating one, because coming into the season, I thought there's a chance this guy is going to get into the Dylan Larkin territory with his contract. That's how important he is to this team as their number one defenseman. But you often see guys kind of get paid by points. And while there are some big deals that have been handed out to young defensemen who have, and part of, the reason I thought that was because of these young deals that got handed out to guys like Owen Power, Jake Sanderson, that are above $8 million. Already, despite the fact that they hadn't produced anything more than Seider had. But, and Seider still produced plenty this year. He scores a big goal last night, but he's not producing in like the Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes territory necessarily either. That makes me think he's going to get that like 8.5, 8.7. It's still possible. He plays that kind of role, and I think he led the NHL in block shots. I don't know exactly how that finished out, but he was in first as of like a week ago. He plays a huge role, but typically you see guys get paid by points. And this contract I'm really fascinated by. I don't know if the Red Wings will go the full 8 years like I thought they would at the start of the year. I think it's still possible. I think there's still very good reason to. It wouldn't shock me as much anymore as it would have at one time if they decided to do a bridge and then see where it's at. But I think he's a core foundational piece. And in one way or another, Moritz Seider is going to be a Detroit Red Wing for a really long time. But I'm fascinated to see where this contract ends up.
And before we get into the stuff about last night and down the stretch, one more question for the future. I kind of put out an emotional tweet last night about guys that I want to see on this team next year, and I put pictures of Kasper, Kosa, and Johansson in that tweet. And I know they're probably going to keep Kosa in Grand Rapids for a majority of next year just to give him a full year down there. But Marco Kasper, even Danielson, who is one of the best in the early prospect camp, which one of these prospects or multiple prospects could you see cracking the big league club for the Red Wings next year?
I think by the end of the year, it could be multiple, right? Johansson's out of waiver exemption, so I do think he pretty much has to make the roster unless they're going to move him. I think he would get claimed on waivers quite quickly. So I think you're going to get your wish there. What does that mean in terms of a role? Time will tell, but I think it's a guy they like, and I don't think it's a guy that they want to lose for nothing. Kasper's a little more interesting. I could see them kind of going the slower play route with him just because he hasn't had that crazy offensive production that usually tells you a guy's outgrown the league, but he did really come on and find his game in the second half of the year. He's a really hard worker. If he continues to push, I could see him making a case. And he's also has some of the elements that they lack at the NHL level right now, right? Like he has that mean to him, that jam, that, not afraid of anybody. Those are all things the Red Wings lack at times this year, and winning those battles down low. I think he would help them with that. So I think there is a case, and similar case for another guy, Carter Mazur, who's down there a little bit older. I actually wouldn't be shocked if he was the first forward of the bunch to get a crack. He's a little skinny. That's kind of the one drawback for how physical and hard he plays. You kind of worry, can he do that if he doesn't add, 10, 15 more pounds onto that frame? But he's got a versatile game, and he's a guy I could see. Danielson is going to be fascinating, though. Danielson looked awesome this preseason.
Yeah, he did.
And if you're just extrapolating off that, you say, is he your favorite of all the young prospects to make a run at this team next year? My only question is, it's harder when there's actual pressure on you, an actual kind of possibility that you could make the team. I think it's a little easier to go out with no expectations and do what Danielson did and surprise everybody, maybe including yourself. Next year, there's going to be a lot of eyes on him and a lot of people asking exactly what you're asking right now, which is this guy going to be on the team? And I think that's a test for young guys to see how they perform in those situations. Guys like Raymond and Seider passed that test, and they made the team, even with all those eyes on him. But sometimes it goes the other way too. So I think it's possible that you see, so we just mentioned 4 guys, Johansson, Kasper, Mazur, and Danielson. I think it's possible that by the end of the year, you've seen all 4 of them in a Red Wings jersey next year. I don't think you'll get all 4 for the full season, though. I think you'll probably get 1 or 2 at the beginning. And then as the year goes on, I think you'll see at least one of the other 2 and maybe both.
It's so crazy because, I find people questioning Steve Yzerman's process or the plan, the Yzer plan, if you will. But, to sit here and talk about, all these prospects, we have kind of just waiting. And they were all, fairly confident. And, I don't remember those ever being conversations with, the prospect pool. I guess I just don't really understand, where are you at with the Yzer plan? Do you think it's hit a bump in the road, or this is kind of as he's planned it out? Because I remember specifically drafting night, he's made comments, even at the deadline, about not expecting the playoffs, but, wanting to be there.
It's a complicated question, right? I think they're in an interesting place here because they've now kind of taken that step that they're right there on the cusp, and that is going to come with expectations. And I don't know that they still are at that place where you can see, okay, they're going to take this much of a step next year and become that 105 point team that isn't sweating it all down the stretch. I don't know if I see that for them next year, obviously pending whatever they do this summer. If they go out and they make a couple big additions, the right guy in goal kind of thing, that can change. But I think slow and steady, they are making progress. And I think you have to acknowledge that. Is it as fast as anybody would like? I would have to say no. And I think you can point to the farm system even. And while they have a lot of prospects, how many more do they have that project as real, true stars, right? I think Edvinsson is kind of the guy right now that I can see being a star. And beyond that, I think you got a lot of good prospects and maybe some really good prospects. but do you have any more stars in there? And I think they could use another star or two. Kosa would be a huge one. If that happens to be him, there's no better position to have a star than in goal, right? Like that's the position that can really elevate you. Is he that? I guess we're going to find out. But that I think is the crux of where things are at with the broader rebuild is, did you manage to get in these years where you were at the bottom? Did you manage to find the true drivers of a championship team? Or did you manage to get a bunch of good players, but you're still looking for those one or two stars? I don't have the answer to that question. I don't think anybody has the answer to that question right now. And that's what we're going to find out in the next year or two.
Yeah, and now getting into some of the tougher stuff about how the season ended and how the season finished. And, it was Bettman hockey at its finest to where it goes down to game 82 and you got 4 teams that are all trying to get in still. And you got teams with less wins than other teams in the playoffs. And what do you think would be the one thing, if you had to boil it down to one thing for the Red Wings and why they didn't make the playoffs? For me, it was consistent upper echelon goaltending. Like, you didn't have that one guy. Lyon had it for a while, and that's when we were the hottest team in the league, and then he kind of went back to earth, and we fell off a little bit. What's the one piece for you to say that this is why? I know it's hard to just nail it down on one thing, but this is why the Wings didn't make the playoffs.
Can I just put it to the month of March? So here's the thing with the goalie. I agree with you that this is a team that needs like above average, at least goaltending to succeed.
Yeah.
But what I think that tells you is that there is something that you're asking goaltending to cover up. And for me, I think that's the team defense. It's not just the defensemen, it's the team defense. They were giving up way too much for way too long. It came to a head in March when they lost Dylan Larkin and teams could really pick their matchups with them and just torment them in a way with how many, mismatches they could create, especially when those games were on the road for the Red Wings. That's when it all heightened. And I get that you're without Larkin. I get that there was a flu bug that was going around the team. I think that those were both factors. But at the end of the day, you got to find a way to win 2 or 3 of those games without Dylan Larkin. If you go and look at their record with and without Larkin, they're 100-point pace with Larkin, and they're on pace with the San Jose Sharks without him. Yes, that speaks to how good and how valuable Dylan Larkin is. It also is just really not acceptable. A team should not be that dependent on one guy to have that level of swing. And so I think the way that they, and most of that record, by the way, is in the month of March, right? Like that's when he missed, I think it was 8 games that he was out, and he missed 14 on the season. So that month of March was where you lost it. You get one more point in that stretch. You can even lose the game. You just take one of those games to overtime. I think about the game in Vegas where they played so well and they lost it and they didn't get a regulation point. You just take that game to overtime. We're talking about a playoff series in New York this weekend, guys. Like that's how important that was. And they couldn't find that 1 point without Larkin in that stretch. Obviously they did pick up a couple wins over Buffalo and Columbus, teams you got to beat, right? And there's more that they left on the table. They didn't get a single point on the Arizona Coyotes in that stretch. That's where you miss the playoffs. If you want to boil it down to one thing, it's that you couldn't find a way without Larkin in March. And I think that speaks to a team that, while deeper this year, was not deep in one of the ways that counts, which is being able to match up and being able to check.
Now, I know you have the player exit interviews. Is that later today still?
Later this week. Still waiting on kind of certain particulars. Not today, though. Later this week, I think, is the expectation.
What is your, guess for what's going to happen with Patrick Kane moving forward? We kind of talked about those young guys, but the Showtime, the wily old vet, expect him to return, or you think he's going to cash in on a trophy somewhere?
Well, it's the thing I'm most curious to hear him talk about whenever we do those exit interviews. My gut feeling, and I don't have anything from Patrick to back this up, right? This is kind of my gut feeling, is that I think it makes sense for him to come back. And I think he seemed to enjoy it here. He was certainly successful here. I know when he signed, he talked about how important it was for him to play in a market that loves hockey. He certainly saw up close just how much, Detroit gets into its team when its team is in it. And even honestly, sometimes when the team is not in it. This is a loyal, dedicated, passionate fan base that appreciates what Patrick Kane brings to the ice in terms of his play and in terms of his showmanship. So I think there's a lot of reasons for Patrick Kane to come back. One of them is Alex DeBrincat, close friend of his. But I think if I had to guess that he would come back. But the Red Wings did fall apart kind of down the stretch. And I think it's possible that he decides, hey, I'm going to go try it somewhere else. But my gut feeling as we sit here today, again, having not done the exit interview yet where all this is talked about, I think he'll be back, but we'll see.
I love it. And I can only hope for that. And then another thing I got to ask you is about the head coach. We got a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people on Twitter calling for Derek Lalonde, saying get him out of here. Where do you sit with Newsy? How you feeling about his progression? And they improved. Like, I understand missing the playoffs is bad, but this is a 11-point jump from last year. Yeah. Almost twice as many players with double-digit goals. Like, how do you feel about Newsy and his job security going forward?
Yeah, I'm with you. They jumped 11 points. I think if they had really collapsed down the stretch, like the very end there when they were still in it and they hadn't shown the fight, maybe that's a conversation you could have. Even then, it's still just year 2, and they were gonna make a incremental improvement. Now it's an 11-point improvement. You don't get that many 11-point improvements in the NHL without being like a 45, 50-point team at least, right? Like it is hard to make real jumps in this league, and they did it. So I think it's still trending up. He's still got plenty to prove, right? They still have to get beyond just improving at some point. And I think next year the expectations do go up, even if the job may get tougher, because as we talked about, there may be some younger guys in the lineup next season. Spending more money on your Siders and your Raymonds means you have less to spread around to other supplementary veterans. So maybe a tougher task next year, but that's the job, right? And I think expectations will go up. I think next year, I do expect Derek Lalonde to be back, and I think next year you'll see if they can take one more step.
Max, I appreciate you taking the time to join us, man. I got one more from my guy Nick in the sound booth, and then I'll let you get going. I apologize.
Hey, Max. Simon Edvinsson played in 16 games this season. What would you grade him on those games? Because we know he's going to be such a pivotal piece in the future.
I give him an A. I mean, there's a couple turnovers in there that I'm sure he wants back, but I thought he handled the pressure of playoff-like hockey better than I even expected. And I'm a big Simon Edvinsson believer. I have been back to his draft selection. I think those long, rangy D like him are so hard to come by. And this one just so happens to have a bunch of offense to his game as well. You saw that on the goal in Toronto. I don't even think you saw the full complement of it, though. I think he's going to wow some people at points with what he can do activating off the blue line. And what impressed me, honestly, was that he did have the poise to know when to do that and more specifically when not to do that in this playoff race, what risks not to take. I was not sure how that would go for him. And if I'm guessing, that's probably one of the reasons why he spent so much of this year in Grand Rapids, was they just wanted to know, about his kind of risk reward calculations. I thought he passed that test with flying colors down this playoff stretch. He played a top 4 role for this team in a playoff hunt. I have no reason to believe he won't be playing a top 4 role for him next year. And I think he'll do really well in that capacity.
And Max, before we let you go, I do have to ask this because these guys, they fought me on it every time I say it. And we talk about the young studs that we got in the prospect pool. One of them that I am probably the biggest fan out of all of them is ASP and what he can do and what he brings to the game. And I said he is Makar-ish. I didn't say he's Cale Makar. I said he's Makar-ish, the way he plays and what he can do offensively.
You can call him crazy
as well.
if you want, Max.
How do you feel about that?
I think that's a little hot for me. I think he's a really good player, though. Makar's 101, right? Like what I think with Pellikka is that I think you want to see him become like a Brandon Montour. And I don't like Brandon Montour is awesome. Brandon Montour is a huge piece on a team that went to the Stanley Cup final last year. And I think with a guy like Pellikka, if you compare him to a Makar and to a Quinn Hughes, it almost sets an impossible bar for this guy, right? I want to see a guy who can score big goals, who's poised with the puck, and who also can handle his own end, handle business in his own end at a level enough that you can play him the kind of role that's going to let him stack up those points. I think that's totally possible for him. So I think Brandon Montour should be the target. Hey, if he's Cale Makar, everyone in Detroit will love it, but I don't see that path necessarily. I think, if he can become a solid 20-minute-a-night top 4 defenseman who scores big goals, that's a hugely successful pick, and I think that's what he has the potential to be.
Max, appreciate your time, man. I read your heartbreak piece a little bit earlier. Thanks for making me feel that again. Make sure you guys check that out in The Athletic. Anything else you want to plug in before we let you get going?
No, we'll have a bunch of off-season content. So I've got a story coming tomorrow that'll talk about, obviously, like we talked about the season's progress. What does that mean? Was it a success? That's kind of the premise of tomorrow's article. So we'll do that, and then we'll have all kinds of stuff coming off the exit interviews and going into the off-season. So hope people will stick around, let their mind stick on hockey for just a little bit longer. Tide you over to the NFL draft.
Yes. That's at @M_Boltman. Make sure you guys give him a follow on X and keep an eye out for his new articles. Thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate you, Max.
Anytime, guys. Talk to you soon.
See you later.
brother. That was a great interview.
It was a great interview.
Definitely
Great
get him
interview.
back on.
Great stuff. Definitely got to bring him. The man knows his stuff. Man.
Yeah, he knows so much.
Like I say it every time. The guys at The Athletic, man.
Oh, they're top tier.
They are top tier, and Max.
Top tier nerds.
Max is one of, if not the best, hockey minds in Detroit right now. It's awesome to have him on when we have him on. Tell us about Swiss.
I'll tell you about Swiss. That's the best insurance in town when it comes to it. If you guys are playing hockey, you probably gonna need some insurance. Make sure your rates aren't creeping up. Make sure those deductibles aren't creeping up. Take care of it now. Contact my guy Mark. It's Mark at SwissINS.com.
Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What's good, man? How you doing? What you got for me today? Let's have a look, man. I see the one I want right there. That's the one I'm looking for.
Welcome to the winner's circle, Blake.
Hey.
Figer Law. All we do is win.
All we do is win.
Soroki's Nashville Hot Chicken is back. They got the tenders, the sandwich. They also got loaded fries and the all-new Nashville Hot Pizza. This is a limited time offer, so make sure you come enjoy the delicious heat while you still can. You can go to one of their 11 convenient locations or order online at Sorokis.com. Nashville Hot is back at Soroki's.
What up, and welcome back to World Heavyweights, liveworldsports.com. I'm your boy Eazy, joined by guys from Raxter.
What up, Doe?
Chris, Nicholas, Kohloff.
Yes, sir.
One thing I want to get off my chest before, and then we're kind of just free-flowing it throughout the show. Shout out to Max Bowman for joining. I thought it was a phenomenal interview.
Great interview. Max is the man.
He is the man. And I'm glad he kind of confirmed something I've been going back and forth with people on Twitter a little bit earlier. It's my introduction to like the Red Wings, or at least as a fan, a more avid fan than I was beforehand, was the guys are playing.
Yes.
And it's been that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I see other people who once were on that same belief or path, if you will, kind of waver and aggressively too. And it blows my mind because the entire way through, he has been open and transparent about the plan and expectations of where he wants this team to be. He has been open with you at what step and phase they are of this plan. And it hasn't been the playoffs yet.
No.
It's never been the expectation to make the playoffs. Now, have they been striving to make it? Yes. Did Alex DeBrincat not come to contract agreements with his previous team and then want to come back home? Yes. That wasn't a step to, make the playoffs this year. And I'm not taking a shot at you, Nick, but just the people that, wanted to go and get a goalie and just make that final push. Why make the final push to just make the playoffs this year versus have you build something sustainable? And I would get it if it is a guy, if this is his first time being a GM, I would totally get it. I'd probably be freaking out a little bit too. But no, he has the Tampa Bay track record to go along with it. He has the draft of Kucherov. He has the draft of Vasilevsky. He's done this. And it took 5 years when he took over in 2010 for them to get that stuff going. They made one playoff in between there. And it was 2 more years absent before they did it again. That's how it went.
That's how it goes in hockey.
Exactly.
I know everybody wants it right now. I know everybody sees the Lions do it and how you can do it in the NFL and be like, oh, why can't the Red Wings do it like that? It's not how it works in hockey. You need your guys to develop. You need guys to get better. You need the young guys a couple of years, honestly, before they're even ready to sniff the NHL, and then it takes them a year to get integrated into the NFL. We got lucky with Sider and Raymond. They were kind of forced. Our hand was forced to play them, and they went out there and they took it swimmingly. That's not going to happen with all your prospects. That's not going to happen with all your draft picks. That's not how the fucking NHL works. So I don't know what to tell you. Like, they made an 11-point jump this year. They went from 7 to 13 players with double-digit scoring. They had young players take incremental strides that you could see, feel, and read. Like, they made a jump. It's not black and white, everybody. I've seen a ton of people on Twitter like, season's a failure. This is awful. Progress doesn't mean shit. Like, it's not black and white. Both things can be true. We can be disappointed they didn't make the playoffs because they were there and we all wanted them to. Yes. Was it a disappointing season for me? Yes. Did they make a lot of progress? Yes. Does that matter? Yes. Like, both things can be true. It's not one or the other. It's not pick a side, choose that side. This isn't politics. It's hockey.
Exactly. And the other thing, too, is like when it comes to Stevie, all this guy knows is dynasties. From his time as a player to his time as a GM, it started to shape out that way with the Lightning, too. Like, can we have some faith in what he's doing? Because he's not doing it to squeak into the playoffs just this 1 year. Similar to what I was kind of saying about the Pistons earlier. I don't give a fuck about making it in for the first round and just being in there for the fuck of it. If we happen to get there on the basis of like, oh, fuck, we made it, awesome. But I'm not sacrificing the future just to be there. Just to be on the scorecard at the end of the day. I want to build something sustainable. This is a guy who's been a part of something sustainable, both with the Red Wings as a player and then built the same thing with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Have some faith in that. Because as we spoke about with Max too, look at the guys we're talking about in the pipeline. Look at how many. Bro, I forgot about Mazur. Like that's a guy I forgot that we had that you're allowed to be excited about. Axel, you're talking about crazy expectations for him. But still, a guy you're allowed to be excited about. Soderblom, a guy. Are we still allowed to be excited about him? I like the size.
I don't know.
Soderblom?
Good size, but in third, fourth line.
Regardless, look at the pieces he brought in, right? Look at the pieces he brought in with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's all kind of like made its way through to something sustainable. Look, relax, bro. This shit it drives me crazy. I had someone compared to the Pistons and Troy Weaver. Brother, NBA players get drafted and hit the court right away. Maybe maybe they're benched for like a little bit and they start towards like the back half of the season. Hockey, as Spinny just got done telling you, they go through like the SHL to the AHL and then the NHL. Like it's a process for these guys to develop into a fucking big leagues guy.
Nobody is coming at Stevie for his drafting and development. I think everybody's on the same page that he is elite at drafting and developing talent. But one thing that he did was bring in Justin Hall and Jeff Petrie. Those were two massive mistakes in my eyes that Stevie did. And it is okay to criticize that, where those were moves that should have been, that's money that should have been put in a different spot for a different player. But, I mean, when it comes to drafting and developing, I have 100% faith. And I do believe in Stevie's going to get this right, 100%. And I do think that this team making the playoffs would have helped the young guys significantly. I know it was nice having meaningful games at the end of the season, but to get that playoff experience against the New York Rangers, I think would have made a difference. Easy. I disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, and he got to play that playoff. Like last night, although it was the Canadians, like I felt that. They did take the loss to guys like Sidney Crosby and fucking Alex Ovechkin in the Capitals and Penguins games. Like they played in that atmosphere. Those are two teams that you're competing with to make this wild card, and they fell short of it. Like they still got the taste of it. Mm-hmm. I just didn't need it, and that wasn't the expectation. Again, had it been a Troy Weaver situation where he starts to begin the season that we're planning on competing this year, and then you get fucking slapped dick in the face, and that's not what happened at all. You're in the fucking top third of the lottery. That wasn't this though. Like you were right on the cusp of it, and that wasn't the expectation. He was, again, transparent about that on draft night, at the deadline, all throughout the process. Like, I think next year, that's when I'm starting my expectations. As Max said, Johansson will be up now. You've talked about Danielson. He'll be up now. Like, I'll start my expectation then. But until then, like that, he kind of told us what the season was going to be. Chris?
Yeah, and that was my whole point with the Blake thing too. Is I think you're just looking at the wrong section of audience. No, I'm not bringing it back to that. But what I'm saying is those people that are criticizing Steve White, like that's just fans getting excited. As Spencer talked about, that's the Lions at the trade deadline, like wanting to make that move. Now that's a much different position because they were in a much more contending state than the Red Wings, but it's still that mentality of fans saying they want that rebuild, saying they want that that dynasty, but don't have the patience for it. But Stevie Y has universal approval among those that are among the Red Wings organization, all that. So to me, this is all null and void. This is just people on Twitter being upset. Can you be disappointed? Yes, because of how the final month played out of the season. But again, there was a plethora of positives that came through in that, and we saw that in our interview with Max.
I like to allow my expectations to fall in line with where guys like a general manager like Brad Holmes or Stevie Y sets them.
Yeah.
Like those are guys that put their nuts on the table and they kind of like let you know what they're doing. Like the whole Brad Holmes stuff, I know we predicted the things, but he kind of fucking point blank told us what he was going to do. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to break. We're turning it back to it. We're a little bit over it. That's my bad for going over the Max interview. I got to tell you about Shake Shack, all right? Shake Shack's got the best chicken sandwich in the game. You can try it for the free ski. All you do is make a purchase $10 or more. That's in-store, on app, or online, and use the promo code Woodward to get a free Shake Shack Chicken Shack sandwich. We'll continue the Red Wings talk when we get back.
The game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports. The first pick in the 2024 media draft, Detroit selects Woodward Sports. Thank you for making us the #1 digital network in Detroit. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
The 313 draft party with Woodward Sports, April 25th and 26th. Join the entire Woodward Sports family as we will broadcast the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. We'll be downtown at the corner of Woodward and Adams at the 313 draft party, which is presented by Feiger Law, Jars, Lost Farm, and Gold Crown. 21 and up, free to everyone. Party starts at 2 p.m. on Thursday, and the live draft coverage begins at 8 p.m. We hope to see you downtown for the 313 draft party. Special thanks to Soroki's and Glorious. While the world watches Detroit, we will show the world how Detroit parties at the 313 draft.
What up, and welcome back to the Heavyweights Live, WoodwardSports.com. I'm Eazy, joined by Raxter, Young Chris, Nicholas Kohloff, Shmeesh, the like button.
Shmeesh.
Before we went to break, I was just kind of saying, like, I like to allow my expectations. I like to line them with the thoughts of the guys calling the shots, and especially when the guys are and have earned the respect. Maybe Stevie more so than Brad Holmes in this scenario when it comes to that, with what they're telling you. Again, like I said before, like we may have predicted the Brad Holmes stuff, but he kind of told us what he was going to do, right? Stevie's beginning of the season, I read it on this show on June 29th, immediately after the draft. We talked about, I'm not comfortable talking about the playoffs. Matter of fact, we have a video from him at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
You want to play that one, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think every team would love to make the playoffs, Ted. Like, again, we'd be thrilled to make the playoffs. Is it playoffs or bust? When you say playoffs or bust, I guess you're prepared to trade all your draft picks and whatever you have to do at some point. So no, it's not playoffs or bust, but we're gonna try to win every game and we're gonna try to make the playoffs. But to me, it's not at the expense of the future. Going to continue to repeat. Like I'm trying to build a nucleus of a team that can make the playoffs on an annual basis. Like, you squeak in one year and you don't have the foundation to sustain it. That, we're going to be sitting here a year from now or 2 years from now, and you're going to, going to be, wondering again. So
there you go. Like, there you have. That's why I don't understand. Like, again, if he's telling you where they are in the phase of where he wants to be, why are you throwing a fit? He said it'd be nice to make the playoffs, but he's not going to give up assets to just go be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. He's trying to build something that's going to remain in the playoffs, and we've seen him do it once before. It's not like it's like a fucking brand new GM telling you this. It's not Troy Weaver telling you this, who's never done it in the past. This Steve Yzerman did it previously with the Tampa Bay Lightning and left on his own accord, by the way. It wasn't like he was fired. He wanted to come back here and do it in Hockey Town.
Yep.
And has he not given you pieces to be excited about?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this shit blows my mind. I guess I can understand, like, an initial emotional trigger and reaction, maybe, sure. But, like, again, when he's telling you point blank, it's mapped out in front of you. That's why I don't understand the overreactions. And, Nick, I see you're itching to say something.
Yeah, I mean, you say you didn't want to give up assets for players. He literally traded a first-rounder for Alex DeBrincat. He brought in a Hall of Famer
not at the deadline.
Patrick Kane. I know, but I'm saying that's what he was expecting to compete. Maybe he's not saying, obviously, you want to.
Fair.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He was expecting to compete.
When you have a guy.
You're not bringing in top-line talent if you're not expecting to compete.
Nick, was Alex DeBrincat not vocal about where he wanted to be?
100% was.
And is Alex DeBrincat a young piece that's going to mold with the rest of these young pieces?
What? Yes. But I'm saying if you're bringing if you're bringing in top-tier talent, you're going to expect to compete for the playoffs.
But if he just point blank told you twice, once at the draft night and then again at the deadline, that he's not, that is what it is. No matter what we may think of this team, because we're fans of it and want more of it, and kind of we're knocking on the door for it to happen.
Yes, I do want more.
That was still the plan.
Are you on board with the Yzer plan?
100%. But I'm saying,
shut your mouth and do what you're told.
It's like you cannot say a bad word about this guy or you get ripped. You get just completely shit on. You're not allowed to say it. You're not allowed to criticize him. Jeff Petrie, Justin Hall, like, those are not great moves. Like, you are allowed to talk about a GM doing his job, and if it's not 100%, like, he's not going to bat 1,000 here, fellas.
Yeah.
You are allowed to talk about it.
Nick,
no, those aren't great moves. Petrie and Hall, those aren't great moves. Did you like the Sprong move? Was that a good move?
Yeah, I did.
Did you like the JT Confer move?
Yeah,
was that a good move? Did you like having Alex Lyon in the net this year? Was that a good move? Did you like them grabbing Patrick Kane? Was that a good move? What about Alex DeBrincat? Was that because all of those moves happened this year too, and all of those moves played dividends. So if you want him to make sure he gets every single move he ever makes for the Red Wings right, you're setting a bar that is extremely hard to reach.
I'm not setting that bar though, Spenny. I'm just saying
you are, because you're pointing out the 2 moves he made this year that didn't work out, while not talking about the 6 or 7 that he did that worked out.
I was more upset that we didn't make a move at the deadline. Obviously, he did not want to mortgage anything, but I wanted this team to be in the playoffs. Those were my expectations. Obviously, maybe not his, that he's saying vocally out to the public. But, like, second game in, I made a pretty decent-sized bet on them to make the playoffs.
That's why
it's not why he's fucking mad. We haven't had playoff hockey in 8 damn years, fellas. We just talked about it yesterday. How much it would mean to this city. We got a taste of it with the Lions.
You talked about all the prospects you liked. You talk. You're cool.
But no, I love.
Listen to me. Let me talk. Let me finish what I'm saying. All those prospects we just talked about you liked. You're cool with trading multiple of them to get one guy to just make the playoffs this year. You're cool with that.
If we were giving up on Berggren, yeah, I would be cool with that. Yes.
Just to make the playoffs this year.
Yes.
That makes zero sense, Nick.
I would give up on Berggren, yeah. Soderblom. I don't think those are high-end type prospects that are going to move the needle for this team.
And before anyone tries to relate this to the trade deadline of Detroit Lions last year, the Detroit Lions were comfortably above 500 and had expectations to do some work in the playoffs. Versus the Red Wings, we were like, we don't really know what's going to happen.
The Lions were a Super Bowl contender. The Red Wings are not a Stanley Cup contender.
Different scenarios, completely different scenarios. I'm just getting ahead of that just right now. But, Nick, that just doesn't make any sense, especially getting, and I know you had the expectation of playoffs, but the GM of the team told you not to. Like, that's on you, brother.
And you bet your money on him.
And you bet your money on him. Brother,
yeah, because I had faith in this team that I thought they would, and they let me down. It sucks, honestly. I wish we had playoff hockey in this city. Like, that's all I wanted.
It too, but what was the move you wanted at the deadline?
I wanted Gensel, personally.
Yeah, to bring him in?
Yeah.
Where did he go? Did he end up getting traded?
Yes, I can pull it up for a second.
And yeah, what did he get traded for?
I think it was a couple second rounders, but let me confirm
Actually,
that.
I've been kind of cool with that. Well, actually, Stevie's got one in the second round.
Yeah,
a couple in the second round actually.
Yeah.
Looking at
One second, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, that's just not what he's gonna do. Like, I understand wanting that to have that push to make the playoffs, but Steve Yzerman is not going to give up on his guys or mortgage his future picks. He literally just said it in that video we just watched.
Yeah.
He's not going to give up on his guys or his future picks just to make the playoffs. Just making the playoffs is not important to Steve Yzerman. Just to get your toe in there, that's not as important it is to us that we all want to see playoff hockey and we all want the Red Wings in the playoffs. He's not concerned with just making the playoffs. He's concerned with going deeper in the playoffs and winning cups. And mortgaging a future, like he said, just to get in there is not something that he even thinks about.
Did you find the trade?
Yeah, it was a boatload. Jake Ensel was traded to Carolina by the Pittsburgh for Michael Bunting, forward prospects, a couple guys that I'm not familiar with, and a conditional first along with Cruz Lucius.
Yeah, see, that's so much. You would never do that. Just to make the playoffs? You're not giving up your whole farm system.
That was more than I thought, yeah.
All right, well, we got to go to break again.
Some Lions when we get back.
Lions when we get back. Let me tell you about Figer Law. After the accident, people need to hire a lawyer more than any other time, so make Figer your first call. 1-800-A-WINNER. That's 1-800-A-WINNER. Their team of trial lawyers will get you the money you deserve. Figer Law, all we do is win.
Congratulations to the real coach of the year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Premier Pet.
Give your pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the convenience of the online and big box retailers with one major difference. They're family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day local curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
Peachy a free agent after next year too, which is kind of like in line with what he seems to be doing. I'm saying by the time all these guys get pulled up, that he's gone as a free agent, and maybe even a trade piece. We'll see. But next year, I'll put the expectations on, which I'm guarantee you next year, you guys are going to put the same expectations on. Especially if what we heard is true about him going into a locker room and having choice words and conversations with some of the guys on the team. I want to transition over to Detroit Lions talk because I know that's what a lot of you guys came here for.
No, eat shit, Nick. No.
I love it, though. I love it that I found hockey. I love it that the Red Wings have been good enough to, like, give a shit about.
Yeah,
like, this is
it's nice
fun
to talk about it.
Yes, this is why I was begging.
I'm not gonna lie. Last night wasn't the best look for you, boy. I was on FaceTime with a little something, and I was going crazy watching the game. She thought I was insane.
That's the crazy part too, because I'm going into work this morning, and shout out to my guy Darren, and he's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Fucking Red Wings, man." And he's like, "What do you mean? Like they lose?" I was like, "No." I got even more mad. Yeah. I was like, "Cause that's the worst part. They didn't lose, and they also won in phenomenal fashion. 3 seconds left with the fucking play.
Insane.
What the fuck?"
David Perron. Do we have that the graphic of what David Perron put? He made a big post. I do want to read that and want to talk about that because that's another guy that is going to be a free agent. And this is a guy who's done a lot for Dylan Larkin. He's done a lot for the young guys. He's done a lot for the culture in the locker room, is David Perron.
Yep.
And here's what he said. He said, Wings fans, thanks for helping Little Caesars Arena be the best atmosphere in the league this year. The pain is real, but I feel our group made unreal steps forward this year and will be beneficial for years to come. I'm proud of this team. The fight that we had, as well as being able to come through, was one of the highest moments Mason prayed silently, hoping we would score just prior to the face-off of the tying goal, which once I heard after the game gave me the proudest feeling, but also devastated for him that this sport is all. That's what this sport is all about. Thank you. Mason, I believe is his child, but yeah,
I was confused.
I'm pretty sure Mason is his kid.
I'm sure. I was like, what?
But that's awesome, man. And that's David Perron is one of those vets that got brought in here. He is, you know what he does. What he does is exactly what he did last night. Like, he scores
You
goals.
know what he does.
He
He
has
does what
the
he
slap
did.
shot. He stays on that side of the ice, and mainly in power play situations or in six-man situations, he's going to be the guy to load up that shot and send it at the net. And he brought in a atmosphere. If you talk to those guys, you talk to the young guys about what he means to this team, he means a lot to the team. He showed them how to do different things. So we'll see if Perron gets brought back or not, which by that, it kind of sounds like he's not going to, honestly, by that statement. And
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. He's an important piece for this locker room. We'll see what Stevie does.
As promised, some Detroit Lions talk. I should have sent this in Slack. That's my bad. But I did take a screenshot. Maybe I'll send that to Chris. But Roman Wilson did an interview with Draft Network, and they kind of asked him what top 30 visits he'd taken. I know the Jets were in there, just off the top of my head. But the name I cared about, the name you care about, is the Detroit Lions. I don't know when Roman Wilson gets drafted. I'm assuming it'll be first and or second round. It can't be first and, but first or second. And I'm thinking more towards the top of the second, back half of that first round, which happens to be where the Detroit Lions rely at pick 29. I brought it up before. Kind of criticized for it a bit. Not criticized, but just wasn't received well. Is this, I guess, are you believing in it a bit more now? Can you see Roman Wilson in Detroit Lions jersey? And what's your takeaway from that news?
I don't think it
makes it that back half.
I don't think he makes to the back half of the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think he will. And I think there'll be better. There's better wide receiver options there at 29 or at 28. Like when they're making their pick,
maybe
there's Xavier Leggett I think is a better option than Roman Wilson at wide receiver. A.D. Mitchell or Worthy I think are better options than Roman Wilson at wide receiver. So we'll see who's still there, but
low-key like Roman Wilson over Worthy.
Over Worthy?
Easy, you hate Worthy.
Yeah,
I don't hate Worthy. He's just a one-trick pony.
Yeah,
and low-key what Worthy
that
offers
one trick
like
is
hate.
what every single NFL GM wants on all of
That
their
is nice.
teams.
Do we have a guy who can do that one trick?
Yes, we do.
All right.
So that proves that our GM likes that trick. So maybe he grabs it again.
We whooped that trick with Jim.
Jim whooped that
and we
trick.
haven't met with Worthy.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, Roman Wilson, he'd be a Josh Reynolds clone like that. He'd fill into that role exactly with what Josh Reynolds did, what he brought to this offense last year. So could I see it? Yeah. Do I think they make their grab him in the first round? No. Do I think he's there at 62 or 60? When's their second pick? Is it 61?
61.
Yeah, I don't think he makes it to 61 either. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think you had it right on the money with the Josh Reynolds comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both light-skinned, they're kind of tall, lanky. No, I'm playing. But seriously, I think he fits that mold. Just a little bit shorter, obviously. But you didn't get to see him run or do as much. I mean, he did well for the limited times that Michigan throws the ball. I mean, I got on a call with Daniel Jeremiah today, too. And he told a story about J.J. McCarthy sat down for a film review with somebody. And at a certain point in the clock, J.J. was like, you could just fast forward this 15 minutes. And I'm like, why? He's like, the rest of this is Michigan football. Like, we just run the ball here for – he had the exact amount of like consecutive plays they ran the ball. Which he's just kind of talking about like his, I guess, ability to remember and to know what the hell is going on in the game. But like Roman Wilson was still productive with that being the style of play of the national championship Michigan team.
Yeah.
Imagine him with this. Like I feel like we've yet to see him fully like bloom as a wide receiver, what he can be, and especially with this offense. I almost feel like he could be. I don't want to say that. I don't want to put those type of expectations on, but I think he could be what Josh Reynolds was, if not more.
Yeah.
And I'm totally fine with
He's
that.
a little
I've kinda
smaller
accepted
than
that.
Josh Reynolds, but I think he can fit that role.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little shorter, but like he's still like 6 foot, 200 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too far
He
off.
runs a lot of different routes too. It's not like he's handcuffed to do certain routes. He showed a lot last year, and they gave him the one, and he went out there and he made a lot of plays, a lot of big plays for this team, a lot of end zone receptions. You know, so I don't know where they'd grab him unless they trade back out of the first round or trade up in the second round.
I think it'd be at 29.
I don't think they'll grab him at
If
29.
they do it, I think it would be at 29. I'm not saying it would happen at 29, And like I said,
I don't think he's best player available at 29. I don't think there's a world where that happens.
You're also a Michigan State fan.
Yeah, but do you think he's the best player? Do you think there's any situation where he'd be the best player available at 29?
Yeah. I've been
If
saying
all
this.
of those linemen are gone, all of the edges are gone, all of the other wide receivers are. If him and Leggett are still on the board, is he better than Leggett?
I can see a world where Brad Holmes, values him over Leggett. I think they're close. I don't even know if that's like the situation for sure. Which one was that?
Beth.
Regardless, though, yeah, I do see a world where he's valued at pick 29, and then not just for the Detroit Lions too. I can see the Chiefs making that same move. I can see the Bills making that same move. Like he's a guy that's going to contribute for you, and in my assumption, like day one. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you have to buy in because again, Brad Holmes has been consistent, and he's been almost to a T, open and honest and transparent about who he selects and who he like. Like he's been very clear on that. So I think if he is taking serious interest in this player in Wilson, then I think that's a player that has a real potential to be selected by the Lions. And I think at this point, I'm pretty much convinced that one of our first two picks. I'm pretty much 100% convinced one of our first two picks is a wide receiver.
For sure.
I wasn't getting there. A couple weeks ago, I was still thinking, okay, O-line and corner, in some sort of DB, but I think wide receiver has really crept in. I think Brad Holmes likes his good weapons, and I think if he can find a good weapon that can fit and help this offense, he's going to do it.
Andrew Jones says it. Would you say that he's a better wide receiver option than Keon Coleman in this draft?
Yeah, I do.
You think Roman Wilson's a better wide receiver prospect than Keon Coleman?
For what we got going on, yeah. For Detroit specifically, yes.
Whoa.
I think
I'm not the only one too. I'm hearing people like him. Real quick, just one story too. Mike Tomlin, Quinyon Mitchell, regarded as like arguably CB1 in this draft class. At the what the hell is it called? The Senior Bowl. Obviously, he's shutting shit down. Well, guess who else was shutting shit down? Roman Wilson. Mike Tomlin went up to Quinyon Mitchell during the Senior Bowl and was like, "If you want to get press scouts, that's who you have to guard the rest of this practice period. Not the rest of practice. Sorry, for the rest of that week."
Yeah,
and that's what they did. From I think it was like the second day on, like those two were always like matching up and pairing up against each other, and it went 50-50. That's a guy, Quinyon Mitchell, again, depending on who's perceiving it, the best quarterback in this draft class. That's, I guess, to put it in perspective for some people. Like Roman Wilson's getting that type of praise. He's through that week alone. He was supposed to be like a third-round pick.
Yeah.
And that week happened. Now he's talking about being the first round.
I don't think he's a first-round pick, personally.
Fellas,
I guess he happened. Back half.
Speaking on this, I think Roman Wilson, you throw him in that LSU offense, he's putting up massive numbers. And it's just because Michigan's offense, where the numbers don't like pop out at you like crazy, but 789 yards and 12 tutties for an offense that does not throw the football, that's still pretty damn good. And if you put him, honestly, one-on-one, I got Roman all day winning that battle.
And by the way, Keon Coleman is great when it comes to that jump ball. But another situation where it's a bit of a one-trick pony.
He's more than just a jump ball guy. He's not just a jump ball guy.
We're going to see.
I watched Keon Coleman play a lot of football, and I saw him do a lot of things that weren't just jump balls.
At the collegiate level, yeah.
Yeah, what else have you seen from any of these guys? That's what you're at the collegiate level, yeah. That's what you're basing your assumption off of every single player in the draft. You've only seen them at the collegiate level.
Keon Coleman, I'm sorry. Roman Wilson could do more than Keon Coleman.
I think Keon Coleman is a better NFL prospect than Roman Wilson, based on size, athleticism, and what he can do.
Elgato, he's too little. Y'all crazy? No, he's not. He's bigger than people are. Go look at the measurements. Obviously, I've already said him. You don't believe me? Go look him up for yourself. He's not as small as you guys are trying to make him out to be. I know this for a fact too because I thought he was small. I thought he was like 5'10".
At the draft, he touched 5'11", 185.
Sub 4'4", 40.
Yeah.
We gotta go to break.
Yeah, at the draft, 5'11", 185, 30-inch arms, 9 3/8 inch hands.
Nice.
4'3", 940.
People are telling me I'm just having conversations with people who do this for a living. The Connor Rogers of the world. Today, Daniel Jeremiah. Like, I'm not pulling this shit out my ass.
Yeah.
We do have to go to break though. Spinny, tell us about Guardian Alarm.
Guardian Alarm. No, I will not. Chris,
I will tell you about Glorious. I will tell you where your draft pick should be. Your selection should be Glorious Ice Water Bubble Hash pre-roll. This is now certified with diamonds. Constantly pushed to create the best cannabis experience. This perfect boost comes from the added touch of pure THC diamond dust, allowing flowers with the highest terps to make the best even better. Glorious Cannabis, check them out at your local retailer or visit gloriouscanna.com.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
This Saturday, guys, 420, the official holiday is here, and make sure you're doing it right, and that's at Dispo Dispensary. Celebrate 420 Dispo style with thousands upon thousands giveaways at each Dispo location. There's 12 locations across the state. That's why they're your local cannabis plug. Make sure you check them out. That's disposhops.com. Again, your local cannabis plug.
Check it out.
Check it out. Let me rephrase something real quick, too. Just for spirit of debate, I kind of went a little further than I wanted to. I just want to rephrase it once more. I think Roman Wilson is a better fit for the Detroit Lions. I do think they're pretty close, I guess, as prospects. I do really think that Keon is a little bit of the one-trick guy until proven otherwise at the NFL level. Again, I guess Vinny has a point, and everybody has to prove that. But that's just the narrative on Keon Coleman. That's what the tape says on Keon Coleman.
Yeah, how much tape have you watched on Keon Coleman? Because I've seen him do it before. I've seen him do other things. You say that's what the tape says. I've watched him do multiple other things. So, yeah, if you need him to prove it at the NFL level, then you won't draft anybody because nobody has proven anything at the NFL level. That's why they're in the NFL draft.
Yeah, there's definitely a question about Keon Coleman. It's not me pulling that out of my ass today. I mean, you're Michigan State alum, and we've known you to be a Keon Coleman stan for as long as the show's been running.
Yeah, I know, but you're saying he's a one-trick pony. Have you watched it? Like, have you really sat down and watched his tape?
Yes.
So what makes you think that he's a one-trick pony? Because I've seen him run multiple different routes, do multiple different things, breaking in, breaking out, doing different, like, I understand you're in love with Roman Wilson out of
I'm not in love with
what
Roman
you've seen
Wilson.
him do at Michigan, but
he just offers you more. He offers you more of a route tree. I think he's more agile. Like with Keon, you're looking for those splash plays. A guy who's gonna climb up there and get it. A guy who's gonna make those contested catches. That's where I categorize Keon Coleman, what he offers you. Roman Wilson, a little bit more of doing it all for you. And I think that's valued more. You want a guy who does more.
I don't know. I feel like you say for the Lions, yeah, that would be. But what the Lions need is that X guy.
No,
the Lions
not the
don't need
style ball they
another.
play. Jared Goff's not a throw it up type of quarterback.
So what?
He's not throwing those.
So
type
they
of
don't
balls.
need an X wide receiver. That's not what they need.
They could use an X wide receiver, but I think they want one that's going to be able to like utilize the route tree.
You don't think Keon Coleman can run routes? Is that what it is?
Again, I think for this offense, Roman Wilson's a better fit.
I don't know. I feel like Roman Wilson will be redundant on what you already have. You already have so many guys that attack the middle of the field and do different things like that.
Yeah, I think Roman Wilson's a better fit for this offense. We never utilize the guy to do those type of things. DJ Chark had a few of those plays, but they're more so like deep ball situations, and then in that one, DJ Chark's faster than Keon Coleman. I'm not trying to shit on Keon Coleman at all.
Keon Coleman had the fastest fastest speed with the ball in his hands at the combine.
Yeah, the routes ran or whatever it was, like GPS tracking.
Like when he's on the field running the routes with the ball in his hands, yes, he was faster than anybody else at the combine.
I think it was a route tree you're talking about. Regardless.
When they were doing the gauntlet thing.
Yeah,
that's where all those.
It's the routes.
Yeah, when he was running with the ball in his hand, he had a faster time than anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're just going to have to disagree. I don't really care to argue about it. I don't believe you're not convinced me either way. I've watched it, seen it, talked about it. And again, to pertain to the Detroit Lions, have they met with Keon Coleman?
No.
Have they met with Roman Wilson?
They have. They've also met with Xavier Leggett and Brian Thomas Jr.
Do you trust Brad Holmes' evaluation as a?
I do.
Okay, so
did Brad Holmes meet with every single one of the players that he's drafted?
As it pertains to this conversation, Keon Coleman versus Roman Wilson, who did Brad Holmes meet with between the two of them? It was
Probably
Roman Wilson.
He's
Not
met with
probably.
Roman Wilson, yes.
Yeah, he met with Roman Wilson, not Keon
So
Coleman.
you're inside Brad Holmes' head now. You know his exact thoughts. Like, yeah, it looks better, but did he meet with every player he's drafted? No. He met with Xavier Leggett, so he's taking Xavier Leggett over Roman Wilson?
I don't think he's taking Keon Coleman. I just put it to you that way.
I'm not saying he's taking him either. I'm saying Keon Coleman's a better prospect in my mind.
I think they value what Roman Wilson does as a wide receiver more than what they value what Keon Coleman does. It's not to say that Keon Coleman is not going to be productive or good at the next level. It's just not for what the Detroit Lions are doing specifically. That's what I was trying to, I guess, reiterate. I wasn't trying to shit on Keon Coleman. I'm just saying it doesn't fit what we got going on, the type of style that we play, type of ball that Jared Goff throws. He's not one to just lay it up there for you and you go out there and get it. That thing, you could say what you want, you could not mean what you say, like Cousin Keys, but that thing comes out wobbly.
It does.
When you got Keon Coleman, you want to throw it up in a contested situation. I'm not asking wobblers to come out in that situation. Another thing that Daniel Jeremiah had to say was, I asked specifically, could you see the Detroit Lions straight up? Not gonna lie, your boy was eating some Detroit Wing Company poutine. No free shout-outs. Or poutine.
Poutine, yeah.
Poutine.
You said some poontang.
Poontang is
Poontang.
that's a different.
So I was like,
picked up a waitress from Detroit Wing Company.
could you see him moving up in the draft? The Detroit Lions, same situation, Miami Dolphins. I speed read it because I was freaking out. And he said one more time. And I asked again, obviously. And he's like, yeah, he could see the Detroit Lions making the move. Specifically said the agency spoken to is that they're very active in the cornerback market. But the position he first started out with was offensive lineman. And I'm just trying to tune down to what's going on this first round, but I really still don't know. But if they made a move up, Spinny, if it was an offensive lineman, a guy that's probably not going to play this year, would that piss you off? Or
No.
I mean, you're cool?
I'm cool with it.
They
It's
moved
something
up to like
you need.
15 to grab one?
You need depth. You need one of those pieces. You need a guy that's going to play behind one of these dudes. So, yeah, no, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean,
If they draft Roman Wilson, I'm fine with it.
look at
No, I'm just kidding.
Look at what he did drafting J-Mo. That was a first-round pick.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to – would you like somebody with your first-round pick to be productive because this is a Super Bowl run? Absolutely. But if he takes somebody, I'm trusting that guy is going to be a baller for 4 of the 5 years minimum that we have him on the rookie contract. So, for me, I'm not too worried about who he selects. I'm going to trust. I'm going to have faith in all of that. My question, while we're still kind of on receivers here, we've talked about Brad Holmes' tendency to double up. That's one area I don't think I see him doubling up in this draft. Do you?
Wide receivers?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I see him only taking
Unless he
one,
gets one in
probably.
like the 7th round or something like that.
Nick? They traded up and drafted offensive lineman. What's Nick's reaction?
What the? No, I'm just kidding. I was going to do the flannel drop. I'm happy with it. To be quite honest, I think if this team is going to have sustained success and be a perennial Super Bowl contender, this team needs to have a top 5 offensive line, especially if Jared Goff's going to be your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot allow pressure up the middle. And if we go guard or tackle, like we don't know what's going to happen with Decker in the future. We talked about it yesterday. Frank Ragnow is a question mark moving forward because of his health. So if he goes tackle or guard, maybe a guy that that's interchangeable to pair with Penei Sewell and hopefully be a future, all-pro. If he goes up and gets his guy, I'm going to be extremely happy with that because I think that's where this team spread is buttered.
Do you have a preference between the two?
Between who?
The positions, I guess, if they were to make the move up.
We talk about edge rusher as that would be the position that if they move up, I'd like to see them get one of those top flight edge rushers.
That's what I kind of come to grips with today too. Is that I thought, at least from again having that conversation, just asking that question, that no, you probably not going to make that move for defensive end, just because per agents. And again, maybe agents throw out whatever out there to boost their guys' stock a little bit there. But we know specifically just through visitation wise. Marshawn Nealon, a few other guys, Darius Robinson, there haven't been that many edges.
Yeah.
It's been predominantly cornerback. And only one of those guys, I'll probably double check on the Quinyon Mitchell stuff. Did they meet with Quinyon at the Combine?
I don't think so.
I know for sure they met with
Terrion Arnold. Yeah.
So that'd be the only guy they make the move up for, in my opinion, in the draft. But they met with a lot more guys that we didn't even know, at least I didn't know before the draft process. Talking about Andrew Phillips, Isaiah Johnson, like
Mhm.
a lot of guys that I perceive as like second rounders, or not even second rounders, third rounders, fourth rounders. They stay put.
I think they stay put too.
That's what I called it.
Yeah, they've been meeting with a lot of guys that are projected to be around the place they're drafting, and like you said, the only one they've met with that they really trade up to grab is a Terrion Arnold. So, I think they stay at 29, and I think they grab the best player available there.
LFG, let's fucking go. Says Eazy, you make great points, but Lions really need interior defensive line and offensive guard help first. I'm not in any disagreements. I think obviously interior defensive lineman maybe took a step back in the rotation since the acquisition of DJ Reader. However, the one question I actually did want to ask before I was kind of just caught off guard during that Zoom meeting was like, mock draft wise, Johnny Newton keeps falling.
Yeah.
He had the foot injury. We know Brad loves injuries. If this guy falls,
I want it.
Yes, exactly what Nick just pressed. Even if it's a situation that he's like, oh, yo, this guy just fell at 20, fucking make the call, snipe him. I'm here for it. This guy is a guy, they're talking about tape where you go to watch guys like Witherspoon last year, and you're like, yo, who is this dude? This is Johnny Newton. And that doesn't happen. These guys are always only focused on like this year's draft class. So when Johnny Newton's had like that praise for like, the past 2 years, and he followed it up again last year, give me that guy. I don't think he falls, but I'm just seeing it happen in a lot of these mock drafts.
I don't care if the man has Folga. You draft him. You draft him flat out.
Yeah, Newton has a bunch of power and quickness that does remind me of Kalijah Cansey of last year. So if you had a rotation with him, Aleem, and Reader, that would be just a extremely plus position where you just made it basically elite.
Mm-hmm.
Couple comments from Woodward Sports Chat. Marvin Tolbert, I think we take running back. Justin Fan says first pick will be edge receiver or offensive lineman. I'd throw a cornerback in there too, maybe, if they make that move.
I don't think if they stay at 29, it'd be a cornerback.
That's fair.
Because the cornerbacks at 29 are going to be nowhere near close to BPA.
Is there a position where you guys are screaming, what the F front door, you know?
No.
If
tight end.
Linebacker.
Another running back.
What if they went linebacker?
Yeah, they're not going to.
Yeah. Who knows?
Oh fuck! If it was linebacker, that probably would be the one. Yeah, you fought. Yeah, linebacker or safety would be the ones for me.
Or quarterback. I'm just playing. Nah, Eazy would be lit.
If
Spencer Radler pick 29. Bring him home. No, I'm playing.
Let me tell you guys about Les Stanford. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. The same great service to customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue, just off 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today and find the brand you want at lesstanford.com.
Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts Woodward Sports.
The BGCSM 3C Sports Conference is coming during NFL Draft Week, starting on April 24th. Special guests will include Jerome Bettis, Barry Sanders, Eddie George, Aleem McNeil, Calvin Johnson Jr., Sean H. Wilson, Cynthia Freeland, Adam Scheffner, and more. This event is open to athletes, coaches, and parents, but space is limited. So go to our website and purchase your tickets today at www.bgcsm.org.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Guys, support a great cause. It's Jerome Bettis, the Bus Stops Here Foundation. Scan the QR code right next to me and join Adam Schefter, Calvin Johnson, Jerome the Bus Bettis, and more at the Bus Stops Here. Again, that's from April 24th to April 26th. Again, scan the QR code right next to me. What up? Welcome back to World Heavyweights Live, WorldSports.com. I'm your boy Eazy, join my guys from Raxter.
What up, though?
Young Chris, Nicholas Kohloff, Skinny. I was asked a question yesterday in the Woodward Sports Chat. I answered it, and I think it was shift out. I'm not 100% sure. He asked, what's more likely to happen? Jared Goff MVP or Aiden Hutchinson?
Aiden Hutchinson, Defensive Player of the Year. It's not even close.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
no respect for Jared Goff.
It's the Hutch
Your Lord and
Defensive
Savior.
Player of the Year. That's more likely to happen. He's going to have upwards of 17 sacks this year. He's going to throw his name into that contention. They're going to be one of the best teams in the league. And if Jared Goff didn't get any votes for MVP last year,
No votes for MVP
if
last
he
year.
didn't get a single vote last year, he's not going to win it next year unless they go undefeated and he throws for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, which isn't going to happen. So, yeah, I would say that the Hutch Defensive Player of the Year odds are more likely.
Chris?
I mean, follow the money. What does Vegas tell you? What does Vegas tell you?
Ooh, Nick.
That's where I'm at with it, and I'm pretty sure it's Aiden Hutchinson is far more likely to
Our
win.
degenerate Nick. Why do we always have a degenerate gambler in that booth?
Yeah, Sound Booth is just, I'm not sure. This guy's ready to ship Stevie Y. Tell him he lost
Scared
the
money
bet.
don't make money, fellas. Let's go. I'm pulling up the odds right now.
Facts. R.I.P. Cole.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of easy. I mean,
It's
JG,
super
'cause this
easy.
would be like a third consecutive year of him doing like putting in work though.
Yeah.
But I think
It's going to be a top 3 offense.
the way football minds dissect it, I mean, this is the way I do it, and this is why I came to that conclusion and won like $500 last year of the same conversation. Was you got the offensive line, you got the lead play caller. It's not like I don't mean to diminish him, but I'm just saying like this again. This is where the MVP voters are at. Most valuable guy who's like putting that work as like the singular piece, putting shit in motion. And you can say that about any quarterback and any team, as long as they don't fuck it up, it's straight, right? But like with JG, it's a lot of that's the word I'm looking for, circumvented maybe. I don't know. Everything's he's kind of sheltered, or at least put in great positions or great situations via play calling and offensive line and whatnot. And obviously we saw when that offensive line got a little shaky last year, you saw the downfall of JG. You even saw a play last year in the playoff game where, thank God, we recovered it. But when Aaron Donald was getting a little bit of pressure, he turned around and literally threw the ball backwards. It was the fucking craziest shit I've ever seen. That's the thought process of, like, the people making those calls. Hutch, I think there's more of an upside to grab that singular award. Chris?
Yeah, and I think that the only way you see it, like I'm trying to look back at the last couple years MVPs. I think the way you look at it is if Philadelphia, like how, you know, they were 7-0, 8-0, and then those Jalen Hurts MVP conversations start like mid-season, or Brock Purdy last year with the Niners. I think that's probably the peak for Jared Goff is like a question of like just throwing his name in the conversation, which you kind of alluded to your difference in top 5 versus top 3 this year if you want to make that bet. I think that's kind of the peak of what Jared Goff will get, whereas Hutch, I think, is a player that can, you know, statistically put up the numbers, have the narrative, and I think it's far more likely. Nick, do you have those numbers on which is more probable?
Yeah, Jared Goff is plus 3,500 and Hutch is plus 1,600. And Jared Goff at plus 3,500 is 16th. So shout out JG 16. He is the 16th.
Best odds.
Yeah, best odds. And Hutch is the 6th.
Yeah,
best odds.
what are CJ Stroud's odds for MVP?
He's like top 5.
This guy.
Yeah.
He's 3. He's 3rd.
He's 3rd?
1,000.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I think CJ Stroud's going to win MVP next year.
Again,
There's so much hype around it. Like,
Yeah, there is.
Dude, that offense is fucking insane.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they got that Diggs.
Insane.
But
and Mixon.
Diggs. They got Tank Dell.
Tank Dell, Nico Collins,
They
Noah
brought
Brown.
back Noah Brown, yeah.
Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon. Like, they're going to be insane.
I'm not dumping on that, but I do think that Mahomes will get a benefited boost because of the three-peat narrative, like that being a possibility. If
I don't
they,
think so.
if
It's
they
a
look
regular
good.
season award.
I know it is, but I'm saying that will boost it up. That if they look like a team that if they look better than they did this season, right? Because this season everybody was kind of questioning them, can they do it? If they look better than they did this past season, then I think that in the middle of the season you start to get those. Look, guys, let's give Mahomes an award. We don't want to look stupid in February when he's raising another Super Bowl.
Per Jim Comparoni, he's a publisher of Spartan Mag for the On3 Network, covers Michigan State football and basketball. Trey Townsend set to visit Michigan State on Tuesday.
Hey, yo.
Talk is cheap, motherfucker!
Yeah, where are you guys at? Who
do you visit first?
It doesn't matter who's first. It matters who finishes.
Yeah, dude.
That is very true.
It ain't the Ray
It's
J
going to be
award.
clown when he goes
That's
down to
like trolling,
Louisville or
really.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes to Arkansas. John Calipari's like, that kid killed me. I need him now.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Eazy can't go a week without hating. I'm not hating. I just asked a question. This is a question from the chat, by the way. I think you guys actually, Eduardo, why don't you answer the question, Mr. Hater? What do you think is more likely to happen?
I haven't seen Cousin Keys in here.
I think
today.
I pissed him off. That might have been my bad.
All right.
He'll come back hopefully.
He's probably doing some self-reflection about why he couldn't pull the trigger.
Or
on
getting
the bet.
together the assets needed.
Yeah, to put up his 20 versus my 1500. Wow,
Yeah.
That was some wild math.
That
in
was.
there.
That was some wild math.
Nick, did you answer? I guess what you think is more likely to happen?
Yeah, I think it's Hutchinson. He's due for a massive year. So I do like Hutch, but I got just real quick on this. Shea Boom has signed a 3-year entry-level contract, and we were talking a lot of Stevie Y's prospects. He was on Denver, the national championship, as a solid D-man, so like that we did that.
Wait, what happened one more time?
He signed an entry-level contract with the Griffins, playing the playoffs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big.
They play tonight too, don't they?
Yep.
Kosa
Iowa?
NBA playing too.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Chris, you giving out any locks later?
I'll tell you
degenerates.
this. I'll tell you this. If Philly gets the 7th seed, I'm putting them versus Boston as the conference finals. I have New York right now. New York, Boston as my conference finals in the East. Whoever wins that 2-7 between New York and Philly, I think is going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't like Milwaukee. If you bet Indiana early in this week, you cashed out because the line opened at plus 280 for Indiana to win the series, and now Indiana is actually the favorite.
What do you think about Oklahoma City and that 1 seed in the West?
I think they can. I think they can win the first round, but I don't expect them to get further than the first round. I think that this is a team that, or further than the second round rather. I think it's pretty obvious, and I know NBA basketball will probably tell me otherwise, but I think it's pretty obvious the 4 best teams playing right now, and it's Dallas, Denver, New York, and Boston. But with the potential Philly to do Embiid things, because this time Embiid's got rest, right? Like he missed like 50 games this season, so he's actually, if he's healthy, he's not going to be worn down. He's going to be the opposites, but if he's healthy, is obviously
Lakers won. They're playing Denver, right?
Yeah, they're playing Denver.
About to get swept again.
I think
crazy.
I think if they win, I think if they
LeBron's about to get
OKC,
swept
they
back-to-back years.
Chill, bro.
It's a competitive sweep, though.
And then
Competitive
draft
sweep,
Bronny.
Yeah.
as they say.
What?
No, he's leaving the Lakers next year.
So hold on.
He's staying there. He's got too many ties there. He's just gonna pull strings to get Bronny where he wants.
You got the Mavs going further than OKC?
Yes, absolutely. I think what Luka and Kyrie are doing right now are like
Yeah,
the
they're
synergy,
going absolutely
the
nuts.
synergy. Like you talk about the Cade Ivy, like no, that fit of Kyrie and Luka is fitting very well. They both adjusted to each other.
And
Luka
you're talking
plays
about the last
faster.
month of the season when teams are done playing?
No, I'm talking
Seriously?
since the trade deadline. They've been incredible synergy. Luka screening for Kyrie. They're doing the little things that you want.
Is this
each
the same kid that
superstar
said
to do.
Josh Smith taking the pisses about? I'm messing with you.
Ronan
I was
says,
like 11 years old, dog. Of course I was geeked.
Ronan says Klay Thompson was 0 for everything. Yeah, he was
0 for 10, I believe.
embarrassing last
That's
night.
terrible.
It's Klay's cooked.
No.
Who would have thought Klay would be cooked before Draymond?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
Wild.
actually, yeah.
do you
that's crazy.
Wild.
do you throw a 1-year bag at them if you're the Pistons if you can't get nobody?
Klay Thompson?
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking not, dude.
I
No
know.
way.
I
Not a
just see
bag.
it out there, and I'm good on it.
I'm
good on
not
it.
opposed to it, but I'm not throwing a bag.
I am just because he's not 3-and-D anymore.
I'm
He's
not
just
putting
3.
a fucking anything near Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
How about DeRozan?
No.
You taking any shots on
Fuck
him?
no.
Fuck
dude.
no.
What
about
are we
Tobias
doing,
Harris?
guys? What are we
Tobias
doing
Harris?
here?
Well, that's the only people that are gonna come here is old vets, and they just want
Yeah,
that
Chris,
bag. on
Chris
their
wants
last
Klay
leg.
Thompson, but he doesn't want Donovan Mitchell.
Hey, shut up! Don't let that narrative happen.
Fucking hell,
no,
dude.
hell no, I don't want Klay.
Give me I'll
I
take
would
Klay
love-
Thompson and DeMar DeRozan over Donovan Mitchell. NBA savant.
Just say it. Let
Right
the,
here.
Let the take cook, man. You're gonna look foolish.
Has there been any talks about president yet?
About president? No, just that they're opening the search and that Troy Weaver. I have a paragraph actually here. I'll throw it up real quick before we go to break, just for 1 minute. It's basically along the lines of saying it's a lot of words. It's like a manifesto.
That's a
type.
manifesto?
I don't really do
Did
those
you write
things.
this?
No, I don't. That's not me. I don't write like that.
So
but basically, he's open to keeping Troy Weaver around, but it's ultimately the new GM's decision. So basically, what he's saying is, guys, there is
Just
going to be
fire
just
him,
one
bro.
person in the room.
Just fire him. Like, I hate I hate Tom
I feel you, but
You're
if he's a voice in the
fired!
draft room, I'm okay with that. I am.
Why?
Like,
Oh my, Chris, what?
He's a
Chris,
good
I'm
drafter.
with you, Chris.
He's a
I'm
good
with you, Chris.
drafter. He's a very good
Yeah,
talent.
Killian Hayes,
evaluator.
great. Isaiah Stewart really looks like a stud. Sadiq Bey made a lot of great, like.
I'm not murdering anybody's draft selection out of quarantine, just in general.
Also,
Taking 3 people over Desmond Bain, 3 picks over Desmond Bain. I'm murdering that. You had 3 chances and you didn't get it.
Asar Thompson, the next Tony Allen.
Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, you can't shoot.
It's not crazy.
It's not bad.
I mean,
Yeah. No, it's not crazy comp. Chris, get the fuck out of here. Like,
it's just
what's a better comp?
Well,
Jason Tatum with defense.
I'm just taking shots at him. I'm just
like
kidding.
it. No, I'm kidding. No, to me, it's not about. It's just to say that's his like ceiling this early. Tony Allen's a good player, but to make that kind of comp that early, I think is a little too.
That guy up north says so. Armtellum and Weaver just switched titles. No, fire all those fucking bums.
Yeah,
none of them deserve to have jobs.
I'm with that. But if you want to keep Troy around to say, hey, I like this guy, that guy in the draft, I'm okay with that. Everything else, though, no. I'm not.
Just throw a dart at the board.
Not opposed to keeping Troy.
Don't even make your draft pick. Trade it.
Hopefully, get a president that helps like filter what he wants to do to fucking Armtellum.
You guys laughed at my manifesto when I questioned Troy Weaver. My.
You're right. You're right.
Great.
And then you went back on it when I said fire him. You were like, no, stop it.
I said if the team underperformed, that does sound like me, Spencer, but I did.
I thought it was a pretty good impression.
Yeah, you nailed it. But no, I did say if the team underperforms, I'm open to questioning Troy Weaver's job. The team underperformed, we're questioning Troy's job.
There shouldn't be any questions. He shouldn't have a job. Well, let me tell you about the quarterback challenge, and it's happening this Friday soon. You got a couple more days to sign up for it. It's the Shake Shack quarterback challenge. You can win 2 tickets to this year's home opener. All you got to do is scan that QR code or go to woodwardsports.com or sign up at any of your Shake Shack locations. If you sign up, you're in the challenge. If you're in the challenge, you got a shot to win. If you win, you get 2 tickets to this year's home opener. It's a quarterback challenge presented by Shake Shack.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Ham for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Woodward Sports has a new morning show. Start your day with Wake Up Woodward. Monday through Friday, it's at 10 a.m. live on Woodward Sports. Join Kool-Aid, Flannel Sam, Broder, JB, and KG every morning as they cover all of Detroit sports. Sports talk, banter, live fan interaction. All on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Mailbag.
Damn, that was bad.
That's a real bad one. Yeah.
That was a Josh Smith.
Mailbag.
That was Oscar Thompson.
Brad is drafted every year.
That was not a Tatum with defense.
Wait, what was the question?
Are you talking about like positions like defensive lineman or like specific like defensive end?
Defensive line. I think they've drafted a defensive end every year.
D-tackle.
D-tackle. I'd say.
Levi, Broderick, Aleem. Actually, Levi and Aleem were the same draft.
They drafted a wide receiver every year.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Antoine Green,
wide receiver.
That's Brad Holmes, Spencer Raxter. Same draft philosophies. Draft a wide. I say it. I've said
Yeah,
that
you
fucking
do.
500 times. Draft a wide receiver every single year.
Except for it sounds like he's not going to take Keon Coleman over Roman Wilson. Just saying.
You're gonna take Xavier Legette over Roman Wilson. Unless he trades
Defensive tackle, receiver, and linebacker.
Linebacker every year says
Mailbag. Is Javi back?
Javi is not back.
He has,
I have
he's
to.
gone to get
The
milk.
Tigers'
He's yet
offense
to
is
return.
so fucking depressing, man.
Booner asks Eazy. Can the Lions win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff? Mailbag.
Damn,
Can
didn't
they?
need an answer.
I think they can.
Yeah, if they go crazy in the draft this year, maybe they can.
Mailbag for you, Spencer. Nick was one that was hammering home Tigers
they can
get more
this year.
bats in the offseason. You think any bats would have fixed this, or do you think this?
I don't think Matt Chapman would have fixed this offense. I like doing coke
He's
and
not your
choking
savior?
strippers. No, he's definitely not your savior.
Okay.
What is the update? What's the Matt Chapman update?
Matt Chapman, he has 4 home runs this season.
Nice.
That's nice. With a 205 average, which might be better than everybody on our lineup.
Yeah, it's probably true. OPS?
Carey's hitting over 300.
Yeah, good for I'm actually hyped with Carey's performance.
Yeah, talk
so
shit
far.
about Kerry Carpenter out of spite.
3 doubles for Chapman and 4 homers.
OPS?
That would be quite nice right now. .667. So that's not
better
good.
than
Not great.
everyone
Yeah,
else.
he's striking out a lot, which obviously Scott Harris doesn't
667
like.
is
But
not
Matt
good.
Chapman,
I know it's not good, but it's better than everybody on our team.
yeah,
Not everybody.
4 home runs,
Who's got a
fellas.
higher OPS?
Gio Urshela, Marcana, and probably Kerry Carpenter.
Are we
Yes.
sure?
Yes.
We
Fellas.
sure about that?
He has 7 extra base hits in 18 games. I would love him on this team. That's where I'm at with it.
Sorry, I'm looking up Canada's stats now because I don't believe Spinny. I guess you watched the game today. Probably should know. Probably would know over me.
Yeah, this
Just gives me his average. Doesn't give me the OPS.
it's gonna be a long season. Like we need Torkelson and Riley Green's getting a bunch of walks right now, which is great to see from his like progression. That's gonna be big for
Riley
the future.
Green's OPS is probably in the 7s.
Yeah, but I mean, how do we fix Torque, fellas? I was calling for AJ to call him out earlier.
Yeah, you were
How would
calling
you
for
guys?
AJ to give him a wedgie on live air.
How would you guys fix Torque?
Dude, I don't know.
Swirly, yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea, bro.
Swirly.
Dude, my computer's spazzing right now. You guys have to read these mailbags.
Mailbag.
Would you trade
Mailbag.
beef stew for Drummond? Yes.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
It's Draymond. Would you trade
for
beef stew for
Draymond.
Draymond?
Ooh,
No.
no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay, hear me out.
Dude.
If Draymond is punching staffers and not players, I'm
yeah,
good with it.
If we put Draymond,
Like
if we
Blake
make
Griffin?
if we put his office next to the Tellums,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Yeah, if we put him the second row of the coaching bench where he could just let it fly, I'm with that.
Mailbag. Will people like or hate the new Lions uniforms?
Gotta see him.
Yeah, we gotta see them first. I think it's good. People are gonna hate them. Detroit.
People hate
fans.
on everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Mailbag. Easy. If you lose a bet, will you wear a golf jersey to a game this year?
yeah, what's the bet?
Yeah, drop the bet.
Mailbag. Is it time for the Grand Rapids kids to take a step up and take some spots on the Wings roster? Would you also trade Larkin for 3 first-round picks to resupply the prospects chain?
No.
No. Hard
yes
pass.
to the first part, no to the second part.
Yeah, you can't trade Larkin. You saw what, and Max just talked about it. I'm pretty sure they were on a 100-point pace with Dylan Larkin in this lineup. We just had nobody step up when he went down, which, yeah, it still hurts.
Where was it? Mailbag.
Somebody asked if we would trade Cider earlier.
Yeah.
No.
Whose jersey are you buying first when they drop tomorrow?
Ooh, I mean, I would like for him to be re-signed, but
Amon-Ra.
Halim.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yamir.
Ali McNeil.
Gibbs.
I think I'm going Sewell.
If they're black, if they're black jerseys, I would love to have Ali McNeil one.
I think a black Sewell would be sick.
What?
Yeah,
He's going to be here the next 15
I've
years.
always liked him. But you just had him higher than like what I thought. But now he's got the piece next to him.
I would probably go Amon-Ra, maybe. I already got a Sewell jersey.
What kind of sucks is that we got the Sewell jerseys and now they're changing the jerseys.
Mailbag. Is signing Patrick Kane a priority? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, after you get Raymond and Cider done, yeah, I think you got to sign Patrick Kane. Well, that'll do it for us today. Appreciate you all tapping into the Heavyweights Live on WoodwardSports.com. make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and share the stream. For Eazy, for Nick, for Chris, I'm Spencer Raxter. We're the Heavyweights. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.